Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Canada's Sportsbook.
SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
All right, you know what? We could talk about a bunch of different stuff. We could talk about how great the event was, how much fun Montreal was, how great it was to see Julian and CJ and Nick all meet each other, how awesome it was that Alan brought the 6th overall pick to our event. Yeah, now, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. You can hear me. I'm right next to you. Why you tell him to turn up your headphones? I'm right here.
Because I like it.
I'm right here.
There you go. Yeah.
Here's what I need.
Perfect amount of spice.
Steve, here's what I need. I need you to make this make sense. Matt Murray and the Leafs want him.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Go.
Why?
Make this make sense.
Do we have a show and everyone's just...
Like, what I'm seeing right now is either, and this is Leafs Twitter in general, I'm seeing two types of people. I'm seeing people who are freaking out, saying fire Dubas at the news. Mm-hmm. And I see people bending themselves a little into a pretzel to say, no, this will be okay. The only thing, I think that it's got to be somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. But my thinking here is that they have to be looking at him as a backup, right?
Okay. I'm going to give you a bunch of information.
Give it to us.
And I'm not going to tell you if it's good or bad. All right?
All right.
Except for the parts where someone straight up said, this is good or this is bad.
Okay.
One, most Senators fans I saw were laughing. That's bad.
Oh, that is bad.
But a few of them were like, well, actually, if you really paid attention, he had a few very good months and one or two really bad ones. And I was like, wait a sec. That's the guy who's going to get 5 times 5.
That's Jack Campbell.
That's Jack Campbell.
He had one good month last year.
Yeah, he had a couple. I don't have it in front of me. His November was immaculate. And after that, he wasn't very good. He got better.
Okay, October, November.
October, November. He got better down the stretch. His winter was abysmal.
It was 880.
It was bad. It was bad. And the only reason he looked like the starter is because Peter Mrazek was the other guy, which allowed a goalie most Leaf fans hadn't even heard of to get into the lineup and look impressive. So there's that. Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts today said, depending on who you speak to, some teams actually point out that they like his numbers. I have heard the same thing. Because remember, public analytics are not NHL teams' analytics. Mm-hmm. Some teams will pay for a service and they'll share that information. Most teams have their own departments.
I got one question for everything you just said.
Okay.
Go.
How many games, Adam, you probably have it up, don't say anything. How many games did Matt Murray play last year?
So I don't know the answer. I'm going to guess 23.
20 games. So when you're like, Matt Murray had a couple good months, you mean the month he played 3 games?
Yes.
The month he played 5 games,
Right.
and then the month he played 7 games? He didn't play last year.
So
the year before.
There's no numbers at all to go off of.
So then there's Dubas's blind spots, and he does, and he's got a blind spot for how often do I say this, guys? Kyle Dubas loves his guys. Holy shit! Find someone who loves you the way Kyle Dubas loves his guys.
Do you want your tweet?
Yes. This is from, I think this is from the CJ Show Meme account.
At Insider J Money on Twitter. Adam, describe the meme.
It's Maverick Lamoureux's parents who were making out at the draft when he got drafted, which, by the way, hell yeah, baby. Fucking right, I'd be making out too.
Everything about it was the best.
Everything. Their kid gets drafted, they kiss with tongue. It's awesome.
Tallest kid in the draft.
Yeah.
He had 69 penalty minutes, 4 goals, 20 assists.
It's beautiful.
And his parents made out at the draft. Hell yeah.
But it says Kyle Dubas and then the other person making out former Sioux Greyhounds. And he is a former Sioux Greyhound.
He is.
And listen, okay, and I say bending themselves into a pretzel to say that this is a good idea. I'm not accusing Kevin Papetti of this because I find Kevin to be insightful on Twitter. And oftentimes Kevin doesn't tell you what to think. He just says, okay, but here's where the narrative's going. Here's where everybody's going. Have you considered? And does this change your mind?
He has an unusually accurate perception of how the Leafs think.
Yes, he does. You almost feel like he knows them. But by the way, I know that he doesn't because I work with his brother.
Oh,
Curtis.
that's right.
Yeah, so Kevin is a real person.
I remember
his brother.
Going into the Virgin Studio and seeing that name on the door, and I went, "Is that?" And you go, "Yes."
It's the same Papetti.
So every year around draft time and around free agency, he goes, "Don't be surprised if," followed by something the Leafs end up doing.
He does that a lot.
He's so good at it.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you're not following Kevin Papetti and Earl Schwartz, there's another one.
Here's what he said. Earl Schwartz is great.
He's very good.
He said Matt Murray only had 20 games played last season, as Jesse said. He was very good through the first 18. Had a 920 save percentage, 920 gold save above expectation. Okay, or 929 that is. If his season were to have ended there, it would have been the fourth best GSA expected per minute behind Shesterkin, Anderson, and Comrie. Now again, they all played way more games. But then he said, then he gave up 5 to Tampa Bay and 8 to Arizona, and then he didn't play.
Yeah, and take it with a grain of salt, right? Like you're like, oh, Shesterkin, he's right up there with Shesterkin. That's great. Who's lining up to get Eric Comrie as their starter?
Yes, exactly. And he said his last game of the season in Arizona moved his save percentage from a 915 total to a 908. That's how bad it was. So
that reminds me of remember the famous game that got Patrick Waugh traded from Montreal to Colorado?
When he said to Réjean, "Ooh, I'm out of here."
So he had played around 20 games to that point, and he had a 918 save percentage heading into that game. He had a 908 when it was done. It knocked him down that far. He allowed 9 goals. It was kind of a lot. Yeah, the Red Wings pumped them.
So Jesse,
Yes.
can you make this make sense? Because the challenge today, we haven't made it make sense yet.
I was getting.
Oh, you're getting there? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. No,
No, go ahead. No. Continue, Steve.
Continue, Steve.
No, because I want Jesse's input, and then I'm going to expand.
Okay, all right.
Okay, where did you leave off?
Well, we
I
left
thought
off.
you wanted to jump in.
Well,
I didn't.
We left off that Matt Murray had a 915 save percentage before the last game, and before the last two, he had a 920. He played 20 games. Guys, Leaf fans don't understand. Darcy Kepler is right there. Jack Campbell's right there. What's going on?
If you can make this make sense, I got a question for you. Because the part that makes the most sense, outside of not being good on the ice, Matt Murray, the second part, off the ice, the contract is about. It is $6.25 million for this year and next year, which is way too much. The Leafs can't afford that. So how does this make sense, Steve?
So there's a couple things there. On the injury front, the one thing I do want to ding Dubas for is last summer, he went out and signed a goaltender who played 12 games to a 3-year contract worth almost $4 million per year. It was an abysmal mistake that cost him 13 spots in the draft. He followed that up by the next summer going out and getting Matt Murray, who only played 20 games and hasn't even been medically cleared to play.
No.
But therein lies the rub. For all his faults, surely this guy is not so daft and so blinded by a goalie he knows and trusts that he's not about to hand the keys to the car to Matt Murray, who has a boat anchor of a contract, hasn't played consistently good hockey in a long time, and hasn't even been medically cleared to play. Surely this is a tandem role at max and a backup role maybe.
So you're saying backup/tandem. A few people wondered because I tweeted out yesterday, I'm like, the Leafs have to be taking some sort of sweetener for this, right?
So I think they are.
But even if they retain salary, I'm still like, you still need to sweeten that.
So the Ottawa Senators, we know this, they had a deal in place with the Buffalo Sabres where I believe they were going to exchange the 7th overall pick for the 13th, and Matt Murray said no. Mm-hmm. So I saw a very funny tweet that was, name Matt Murray the GM of the Sens, because he saved them, right? Mm-hmm. He saved them from making a mistake there. We know Ottawa, some Senators fans, and this was funny, they're like, the Leafs don't have leverage here, because I was talking about leverage, because he's under contract. He's their goalie. Okay, The Leafs' leverage in all this is the Senators obviously badly want to get rid of him. So the idea that the Sens can just sit on this and not make a trade doesn't appear to be an option to them. He's about to make $7 million this year and $8 million the next.
Oh, it's backloaded.
Yes, and they don't have a stomach for that at all. They don't have a stomach for that at all. We know that not only were they willing to sweeten the deal with Buffalo, but they were willing to retain 25%. Now, who asked for it to be 25%? Was it Buffalo? Because Buffalo also needs to hit the cap floor.
Yes.
Don't forget. So the Sens are going to retain 50. Well, I don't think they can.
How much was the Mrazek deal?
$3.8 million per year.
How much is 50% of 625?
Oh, come on, man. 3.125.
So we're saving $700,000 off of the Mrazek deal.
Right.
What if there's a third team involved?
There you go.
That has to be what's happening.
You think that's what's going on?
Has to be. So, because the Sens,
So you won't accept a trade to Buffalo, but will you accept a trade through Buffalo?
that could happen. But if you're Buffalo, do you want to facilitate that?
Why not?
Do you want to help the Leafs get their guy?
Yeah.
Do you want to help not only get their guy, but get the guy that
then Arizona. Then call Arizona.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. The Leafs have done 3-way deals with Columbus and San Jose, with Chicago, a prior GM, Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They did a 3-way deal. So there's all of a sudden there's all these trade partners coming up. You brilliantly pointed out that Alexander Kerfoot has the exact opposite deal of Matt Murray. You didn't put it in those words, but it's front-loaded. What the fuck?
Front loaded.
Front loaded.
Blow-blooded.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's that time of year, huh?
Okay.
Front loaded. His bonus. So this is where it gets confusing a little bit.
Right.
Kerfoot is owed a bonus of just under $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Then his salary is $750,000. He also has a modified no trade clause.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where that gets confusing, because he can submit 10 teams that he doesn't want to be traded to. CapFriendly.com says he has to submit that list July 1st. Now, I assume he submitted it. You know, we're not doing the whole Evgeny Dodonov thing. But I have also heard July 13th. It's all very confusing. I'm going to go with what CapFriendly said, because CapFriendly has good information and the bonuses have already been paid out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I assume bonuses and trade protection are the same day. If Kerfoot is willing to waive to go to Ottawa, that really helps get this deal done. Really helps get this deal done. He's a player who would be appealing to Ottawa because he's good. He's serviceable for sure. Good utility player. Can play a lot of different roles: power play, penalty kill, center, wing. And he makes no money. He helps you get to the floor without being owed $7 million. So Matt Murray making $7 million. They might knock that down to like $1.5 million by retaining a little bit of money on him. And Kerfoot only makes $750,000. So now we're starting to piece it together.
The deal makes sense numbers wise, but then you come down to the guy they're doing backflips over to get is Matt Murray. When you could probably just take the cash, go out in free agency and buy a goaltender that'll cost you nothing, and you don't have to go all through all these hula hoops.
Well,
why is Matt Murray the guy? Why is it not Kemper?
Tampering is absolutely rampant. And we already know the Oilers, who absolutely tampered with Jack Campbell, are probably going to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Another team who absolutely tampered with Darcy Kemper, although that's a little different because the Avalanche basically said, listen,
You're gone.
you're gone. So like maybe they gave him permission. I don't know. So he's going to go. Fleury's already locked up. Vanacek just got traded to the Devils.
Yeah.
Georgiev just got traded to the Avs. Like the Leafs they're looking for a dance partner here. So
can I read off the UFA goalies? Because it's looking a little bleak.
Is it a tough list? All right.
It's Kemper, Campbell. Samsung doesn't count. I'm just doing UFAs, not RFAs. Martin Jones, Thomas Greiss, Braden Holtby, Dustin Tokarski.
Holtby, who might not play.
And then we're getting into the David Rittich.
Martin
Andrew
Jones had a
Hammond.
900 save percentage for the first time in 4 years this past year.
With the Flyers?
Yeah.
It's real bleak.
It's tough. So is there another trade in there? You know, like they're not going to go Murray, Shelgren. You have to have more faith in this group, for the love of God. Now, Friedge pointed out, so it's Dubas who knows him. It's Keefe who knows him. It's also the head of the goaltending department. I forget his name.
Bobby McBoberson.
Eckhart, I think. I can't remember.
Eckerson.
Who knows Matt Murray. But if Kerfoot is willing to waive, which I think is a big part of this, is if Kerfoot is willing to waive, the Sens can give the Leafs a goalie. There's going to be a third team involved. Do the Leafs have to give something to that third team? Do the Sens have to give something to the third team? I would imagine maybe both. Like, who knows? Like, I've heard Connor Brown could potentially be part of the sweetener. I've heard Justin Hall going
Connor
to the
Brown
Sens.
makes too much money.
I've heard. Listen, I'm just telling you what I've heard.
Doesn't he make nearly $4 million?
3.5?
I don't actually know what he's at. There's something here, and it's
win.
not going to be a $6.25 million deal. The Leafs are going to inherit. I don't think it's even going to be $5 million. Like, surely there's a third team involved.
$3.6 million Connor Brown makes.
Nearly $4 million?
Well, and so, yeah, but if you trade him for Alex Kerfoot, it's basically a wash.
And because Eugene Melnyk made them do this.
I don't know.
Listen,
man.
Eugene made them do this. A lot of those contracts signed a couple years ago are backloaded because they thought the Senators would be good and they'd be far more able to afford them. That's why Connor Brown, he's also a UFA at the end of the year, but and has said, I'm going to test free agency. But like, they have to pay some of these things now and they're not wanting to. And they really don't want to pay that.
And I should emphasize, like, let's say this doesn't happen and the Leafs get him for the full hit, which I don't think they can do. But like, let's say it's $5 million. Yeah, bro, that sucks. Yeah, that's real bad. And it could end up not being real bad. Like, let's say he returns to form and he stands on his head. Like, it's a possibility. But based on recent history, no, the fuck it's not.
All right. Adam, the summer that Matt Murray was UFA, so 2 summers ago, Adam went into that offseason being like, that would be a great pickup. And you listed a whole bunch of reasons because this guy's a Stanley Cup champion. He has a whole bunch of stuff to prove. And he's not old. He's not old. Like, it could all still be there.
But then we saw 2 seasons of Matt Murray.
And then we saw what happened. And it feels like that mentality is something we're going to have. If you believe in Dubas thinking that, hey, this is the revitalization, you know, that mentality is what we're going to have to go into in September if we want to believe in Matt Murray.
So can I mention a team that would have the space for a 3-way deal, and the Leafs made a deal with them recently? The Chicago Blackhawks. So I was looking at their top 5 forwards in terms of salary. Tyler Johnson is 3rd behind Tannen Caves. And then I think Brett Connolly is in there, and I don't remember the other guy. Except they just put him on waivers to buy him out.
They're buying him out, yeah.
Who plays for the Blackhawks? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we know
just
teams
put him on waivers.
We know teams call each other all the time, right? And the same each other. The Dubas and Davidson with the Blackhawks talk a lot.
Yep.
They were working on a Mrazek Fleury deal potentially, according to rumors. It didn't work out, and Dubas got grumpy about it. And I remember being like, I wonder if, that's going to kibosh this. Nope. Sounds like they're still friends. They were able to get it done. They made a deal on the draft floor. While they were talking, I wonder if this had factored into the conversations. The Blackhawks are selling the entire farm. They're selling the Earth's crust under the farm. They're selling that they're going to strike oil. Like, it's unbelievable. So maybe they could be a third team. But listen, at the end of the day, with all these teams doing 3-way deals and sweeteners and all this shit, the Leafs have got to win a round, then win 2, and then win 3, and then win 4. That'd be nice. And does this trade make the Leafs better? There's no clear evidence of that. And it's
especially if Kerfoot's going, because I would argue of the 2 players that you mentioned, we're losing the better player.
Yeah.
Out of him and Brown?
Out of him and
everybody-
Murray,
Murray.
Brown.
Everybody
And
in that trade, Kerfoot's the most talented hockey player in there.
now
in that deal.
Does it now? Obviously, there was the news today that the Chicago Blackhawks are probably not going to qualify Dominik Kubalik and Strome as well. And I wondered if the Leafs would go after Dylan Strome, that is, of Dylan Strome fame. Or if the Rangers are going to replace one Strome with another. But Dylan Strome did pretty good last year. Obviously played with some high-end players, but they're looking to move Tavares to the wing. So does that give them the opportunity to do that? Like, it's just an odd, or we think they might be moving. They've talked about it.
I think they might be.
I wondered about that and thought, okay, maybe that's what they're trying to do. They looked at how the Avalanche won. Again, lowest save percentage in a long, long time, still win the cup. So do they then go, all right, well, let's double down on what we are because we can't really fix the other thing. And hopefully we get at least 905 save percentage. Because if they'd had that most of the year last year, if you look at their save percentage after November, it's awful.
Yeah.
If they'd had that most of the year, are they not in contention to at least challenge the Panthers for top of the division?
If you look at the way the East is shaking out, the Leafs should be competing for the President's Trophy.
Yes.
They should be. They should be competing for the
That should
President's
be the goal.
Trophy, and then you figure it out from there. You win the President's Trophy, you give yourself a good chance to win round 1, 2, 3, 4. It didn't work out that way this year, but they won a round.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers won a round. Dubas made a large, and what did I say though before the draft? I talked about Dubas's most common trading partners. This would make Ottawa tied for first with St. Louis. This would be his 5th deal.
Wow.
With Ottawa. And, another thing that I discovered, remember, you're like, what about Thomas Plekanec? That was just before he was hired as GM.
The Dubas didn't make that deal.
He didn't make that deal. Not as general manager. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was a GM, right? That was a Lou deal?
Because as soon as you said that, I was like, is my list shit? did I do bad research? Oh, no.
Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to bring up, the reason Ottawa seems to want to get out of these deals, Connor Brown and Matt Murray specifically, is they want to bring Claude Giroux in. They want Giroux setting up DeBrincat all year next year.
And according to Elliot Friedman, potentially Mackenzie Weegar.
Oh, yeah, that too, which is wild. Good for them. It's
a good team.
You could see why when Giroux's coming off making 8.275. Is he going to make that again? Maybe not.
No.
But you could see why they want to move out money that's no use to them.
Yeah. Of course. Well, every team should want to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, Ottawa especially, they're strapped, right?
They are. See, now I'm obsessing over this 3-way potential deal with Chicago because we've heard Hall could be on his way out. I've heard Hall could potentially be involved in this deal. The Sens are trying to move off of Zaitsev. Would Hall replace Zaitsev
in Ottawa?
Or would Hall go back to the team that drafted him in Chicago? I mean, if you're the Sens and you have...
I think you meant Zaitsev to the Leafs. I was like, you
absolutely
got to be kidding me. Okay.
No. But if you're the Sens and you have a team that is very clearly trying to be as bad as possible in the Chicago Blackhawks, I wonder if they would take Zaitsev.
Yeah. I mean, how many years are left on that deal?
Oh, man. 3?
3 more? Really?
He signed a 7-year deal.
Hold on, I got to find that.
Nikita Zaitsev right now only has 2 seasons left. So this year and next year.
That dude,
that's a bad...
Nikita Zaitsev's in his 6th NHL season.
You know what they should do? Instead of like top 10 lists of like best goal scorers all time, they should do top 10 best general manager moves in a particular GM's career and top 10 worst.
Based
like
on
Lou would have some of the most outstanding moves and some of the worst contract settings you've ever seen. Mystifying. You can't believe they come from the same guy.
No, he is fleecings and you can't believe they come from the same guy. That's a great way of putting it.
Apparently multiple teams have approached the Leafs about goaltending in trades because Dubas said, like, listen, everybody who you've seen move was on our list.
Keep an eye on Columbus.
And then I guess so the Leafs they're saying we're probably going to get it from the trade market. The Leafs it's interesting with their RFAs. It looks like Engvall is like a lock, obviously, to get an RFA, although we'll find like a tender to qualifying offer. But obviously, Andre Kasha presents an issue, and we've sort of mentioned this before, but he is arbitration eligible. Qualifying him could mean the Leafs have to give him a significant raise from his $1.25 million last year. Remember, they signed him as UFA.
Wait, are you talking about Engvall or
Kasha?
Oh, it was only 1.25? I keep thinking it was 2.5 for some reason.
No, that was Nick Ritchie.
Nick Ritchie. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It keeps getting stuck in my head. It's so the Avs walked away from Nicolas Aube-Kubel today. And I don't think it's because they don't like the player. And I don't think it's because they're like, oh my God, 1 point whatever million. It was like nothing. I think it's getting locked into that number. They don't want to get locked into that number because if you go to arbitration and they get an award, you could potentially be locked into it.
Right.
So just going back to what you were just saying there about Dubas, he said every deal that's happened, we've been in on those deals.
Well, those goaltenders were all on their list. Is basically this is the Luke Fox quote. Just I want to give that. He said after the deal we made last night, and this is over the weekend, we got more space, and every team that had someone was coming up to us this morning. So every goaltender, he said there were a greater surplus in the trade market than there is in free agency. There's usually something you have to pay on that end as well. So it's just measuring cost versus what we expect from the goaltender. And obviously that means Georgiev, Vanacek, Husso, DeSmith, Fleury, Craig Anderson, Scott Wedgwood. Toronto had kicked tires on all of them.
Why couldn't they have done any of those deals? I look at the Husso deal where it's a third round pick and $4.5 million for a couple of years. Why couldn't they have done that?
Scott
That's
Wedgwood.
a really good question.
That's what I would ask Dubas. Like, okay, if you've been in on these deals, why didn't you pull the trigger on one of them, just solve this issue, and then you're not chasing 6.25 Matt Murray?
I can't remember who I was listening to, if it was the CJ Show or 32 Thoughts. Because the CJ Show is on our network, I'll say it was him. But Wedgwood has been a journeyman in the league. So he probably wants stability, and he got some term with Dallas. Holy shit, though. He could have got some money if he went to market. Because the goalie market's nuts. It's nuts. And I think it's only going to get more nuts for Campbell and Kemper because there's going to be a bidding war.
I was going to say, two now. The goalie market was nuts because we came into this 2 weeks ago being like, okay, there's like 8 really good goalies and they're all out there and like 10 teams need goalies. And like 6 of them are off the board.
Yeah.
And there's 2 guys left who are at the dance who are going to get whatever they want. And Edmonton's going to give Jack Campbell $80 million.
Well, and the Oilers also got outbid by Colorado in a trade for Kemper, remember. So I'm looking at that and going, oh, well, if it's between Campbell and Kemper, I mean, Kemper they wanted him and then he won the Stanley Cup. I doubt the Oilers want him less. But now I'm looking at this and either they think they can get Kemper for cheaper than Campbell or they just think Campbell's the better goalie.
Right. That just might be their guy. You know,
this might be their guy. Yeah. Like, it's weird that we're hearing 5 times 5 with Campbell, and I feel like I haven't really heard a number with Kemper though.
Kemper, I think, like, because Washington's still got to be in this, right? And and if Toronto's going the Matt Murray route, then Kemper and Washington seem like the fit.
Buffalo, I wouldn't be surprised. And
but Buffalo's trying to suck, you know, and they signed my boy. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yes.
He's coming back.
Best name in sports.
Let's go.
Noted
people.
Stanley Cup finalist.
Stanley Cup finalist.
That's right. By the way, I do want to say this. At the draft, Pierre Dorian was interviewed. And if you remember at the beginning of last season, they said, Pierre, where's the team at? And he said the rebuild is over.
Yeah, that's right.
So what did he say this year at the draft about where the team is?
What did he say?
What did he say?
I don't know.
They're in the next phase.
Oh, boy.
All right.
They took a pretty decided step back.
I believe that they are.
If you added Giroux where you were listening to that, it was like Giroux, DeBrincat, the defense is all right.
Maybe Mackenzie Weegar.
Weegar, too.
Weegar would be a good man. Yeah. Then I'd be like, I wouldn't be quite Michael Tracos, Leafs better look in the mirror. But Steve missed that joke because he's on his phone.
Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Sorry. I saw Joe Sakic step down as GM. I didn't know that.
He didn't step down. He did the Masai thing.
Yeah, he's the president now.
Yeah.
Well, stepped up. I guess.
McFarlane, I think, is stepping in or something like that. I think
he went to the better position.
Yeah, basically it's the same thing that the Leafs did with Dubas, right? They didn't want to lose Dubas, but then they didn't have a president's position to put Lou in. So they lost him. That's what happened.
Silly.
Also, hearing rumors today that Nazem Kadri could be an option for the New York Islanders. That's right. But before we get into that, let's get into this. It's You Can Bet That with Dave Bass. So remember, tips on responsible gaming in the description of this video and where you get your podcast. It is sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Dave Bastel, sportsinteraction.com/SDPN, and he's got two great props for you heading into Wednesday. The first one, Jack Campbell's next NHL team.
Hooray.
Yeah. Now, the odds-on favorite for this, a surprise for Toronto fans, Dave.
Yeah, it's the Edmonton Oilers. And actually, when you look at some of the numbers, guys, Oilers are pretty heavy favorites when you look at it. 1.67. Leafs come in number 2. Number 3 is the Washington Capitals that seem to be in on a lot of these different goalies, and then the Buffalo Sabres. So I know you guys, and we've talked about this in the past, Jack Campbell leaving, a heavy possibility, yes. But how do you guys feel about that?
Well, it hurts my feelings, Dave. So who do I complain to at Sports Interaction if odds hurt my feelings?
And what's funny is that the Caps have the same odds as the Leafs of getting it.
That hurts my feelings.
Yeah, right?
They just got a goalie.
Darcy Kemper's next NHL team. Dave, Leaf fans aren't going to like this either.
No, it's the Washington Capitals that are the front runners, and similar odds to what the Edmonton Oilers are. I know. Oh, okay. Let me ask you this: would you guys want Darcy Kemper in net for you guys?
It's not about that, Dave.
He did win a cup, but I think
I would.
He won the cup with the lowest save percentage for a goalie in like 20 years or something like that.
Well, I like the first part of that where he won a cup.
That's right.
He won a cup.
True.
Well, you know what? If I'm looking carefully, Is that the Matt Murray fan club over there? Maybe Matt Murray?
I've always thought he was good. Always. I've always known.
Sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Sign up. Get your prop bets in before free agency on Wednesday. And Dave, we will talk to you Friday. We're going to talk to you Friday. So we'll see you then.
Love it. See you guys.
We're all getting older every day.
Science.
That's how time works.
Yeah. You know what else is science? NAD. Supplementation, which is a part of your routine. It needs to be a part of your routine as you age. Elysium Health is one of the most trusted sources for NAD supplementation. Their product basis is clinically proven to increase levels of NAD by 40% safely and sustainably in your body. They have a dozen of the world's best scientists. 7 of them are Nobel Prize winners. Founded by a renowned researcher, you know that this is like the best as a part of your age routine. And again, like I said, we're all getting older every day, aren't we?
Science.
Smartest thing I've ever said. So go to trybasis.com/STP and enter that code STP at checkout for 10% off Basis prepaid plans, as well as other Elysium products. That's trybasis.com/STP. Use the code STP at checkout to save 10%. Thank you, Elysium Health, for sponsoring this episode. So here's the thing with watches. And I've never fully understood the whole watch fixation, but there's a lot of people that love very expensive watches. I like a good watch. I think it completes the outfit. But do I want to spend that much money on it? Because the watch prices are kind of crazy for something that your phone literally does.
Yeah.
Your phone literally
You
tells
don't really
time.
buy a watch for the time part
No.
in 2022.
Yeah, but here it is on my wrist. No, that looks stupid.
So here's the thing.
Phone on your wrist.
And it's the wrong way, too.
You want to look put together. You want to look great. You don't want to spend an obnoxious amount of money for it. Watches from Movement are the ones for you. They got the look and quality of the extremely expensive watches from the department store, but they cost a fraction of the price. And you get a beautiful watch right to your door, shipped there for free. And if you don't love it, you ship it right back for free. Free. Now, if you want to join the movement, and you should, and you want to get 15% off, free shipping, free returns, go to mvmt.com/dangle. Again, that's mvmt.com/dangle. Complete that look. Don't break the bank. It's Movement. Well, guys, there's a lot we could talk about, but I want to talk about
The
this.
Leafs.
Nope.
Oh.
I want to talk about Chuck Fletcher continuing to Chuck Fletch. Chucky Fletchman coming at you with Tony Deangelo, who is now a Flyer. Now, check this out. The Hurricanes are going to get a 4th round pick. They got it for this draft, this past one, 101 overall. They will get a 2023 3rd round pick and a 2nd round pick in 2024 for the Flyers in this deal for Deangelo, who then got to Philadelphia and signed a 2-year, $10 million contract. I thought it was a $5 million contract when I first saw it. I was like, 2.25 or 2.5. If you take the character out of it, okay, I guess. But $5 million per season, Tony Deangelo.
Dude signed a 2-year deal, paying him 4.5 per, got punched in the face by his goalie, got
bought out.
Made 4.5 to do nothing, then got bought out, so
Right.
he did lose some money, signed for $1 million in Carolina, and then got $10 million.
So that sounds like, you know, again, we're taking the person out of it a little bit here, or the history. Maybe the person has changed. We have to allow room for that. That is good asset management by the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, but like when people talk about like consequences for him and stuff like that, this is why I kind of laugh. I'm like, oh yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, there are no consequences.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine. But from like a hockey standpoint, I mean,
it's also bad. You're right.
Well, the Philadelphia Flyers now have both Tony Deangelos. They have the American one and the Finnish one.
What?
Him and Rasmus Ristolainen.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Who cannot defend. They can't defend. But they're right-handed shots who put up a lot of points.
God, wouldn't it be great if Torts paired them? Like Torts.
Let's go.
Torts has to coach Deangelo, and they might know each other from the U.S. team, or the U.S. development team.
I think that's part of the reason this got done.
And Ristolainen, who has never played great defense, I am shocked. I can't wait to see what they do together. I hope he puts them together.
I mean, they had to fill the Ryan Ellis void. I mean, that deal probably does not bode well for...
You mean you don't think Ellis is coming back this year?
Well, he might, but I mean, I don't know how much hockey he's got left in him. I hope he's got lots. I like him.
I got no faith in any move the Flyers make. Like, they got to prove to me that they know what they're doing.
They paid a lot of assets and money for this guy. Like, Chuck.
And Chuck could have had him for free. Or for the cost of whatever last year.
Chuck, buddy. Chuck. Flyers fans, I don't know. Like, they got to come out of the Metro, man. Are they going to be better than the Penguins?
No.
Well, Penguins are an interesting case because of the Malkin thing, but no. Are they better than the Rangers?
No, for sure not.
Islanders are probably going to bounce back. They're better than the Islanders?
Yeah, they are. Don't think they're better than the Islanders.
Devils are probably going to take a step up. Are they going to beat the Devils?
Maybe.
Devils.
I saw the Devils play in person last year.
They're
horrendous. They're so bad. And if Jack Campbell doesn't go there and Darcy Kemper doesn't go there, they're going to go back to, honestly, no offense to the goalies I saw play, but I can't name them.
Devils fans will defend the Devils with their lives.
No, when we shit on them a few months ago, we were right. We were right. Now I look at what they've done and the way their guys have developed, and they actually played really well after our little rant.
Yeah,
they're going to score goals, and next year I think they're going to get some stops. They'll be better.
Bernier's injured. We're not sure if he's going to come back. Blackwood will be fine, but who else?
They're going to be spending a lot in the goalie market.
Who's left?
Campbell and Kemper, I think.
And neither are going there. Campbell's going to Edmonton and Kemper's going to Washington. That's what's going to happen.
We don't know that.
Yeah,
it looks
we
likely,
do.
But
listen, okay.
And Blackwood had a shitty season.
I had some conversations in Montreal. From everything I heard, and I asked a few people, and they're saying Campbell feels done to Edmonton.
Also, they did just get a goalie. They got Vanacek.
Right, it was. It was to New Jersey because in my head. So I'm dumb. When you asked that, I'm like,
but he's not.
I was like, Vanacek. Oh wait, he got traded to Washington.
But he's not.
Wait, no, he didn't.
But
he got traded to.
Also, not that great.
Vanacek Blackwood will be interesting.
He's better. New Jersey had two of the worst goalies in the NHL.
Now they've got,
and it wasn't Blackwood and Bernier. It was who was it?
John Gillies and John Gillies. I saw play.
He was terrible.
He was. It wasn't fair. He shouldn't have been.
Vanacek,
was it Nico Dawes?
I think it was.
Vanacek Blackwood is a tandem that can get you out of a weak Metro.
They'll be fine.
And they have Ilya Kovalchuk on a $250,000 contract. Which
good.
I think that's great value for 3 more years.
Also, their forward group is good.
Yeah, but they suck.
No, but Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Thomas Tatar.
Who sucks at defense?
I think
they're all going to take a step.
Yeah.
They're hopefully going to be healthy.
Dougie Hamilton, who's not great at defense. Severson, who sucks at defense. Guys, they have no defense.
Like, we got to see what the contracts come out to, but Jesper Bratt and Miles Wood are also guys.
They are.
Listen, they're not trying to convince you they're good. I'm trying to convince you they're going to be better.
They're going to be competitive.
I think they'll take a step. Do you think they're better than the Flyers? I do not think they're better than the Flyers.
At this point, if we had a bet here about who's going to finish next season with more points, the Devils or the Flyers, I would take the Devils. Every day of the week.
The big thing here is, does Philly have a big free agent forward in them?
And I think they do.
I don't know. Well, after this deal, do they have the money for a Gaudreau? Do they have the money for
Kadri.
like a Kachuk trade, a Kadri signing? I don't know, man.
Malkin.
That'd be crazy.
You're asking for trouble. 35 years old wants 4 years.
No.
Oh, the crazy thing is right now,
$9 million.
the Flyers have, as of today, now I don't know. Yeah, Cap Friendly has already shown with the contracts up. As of today, they have $82 million under cap. They are $118,000 under the actual cap. So yeah, maybe not.
Under the cap?
That's all they have.
$100,000.
They have $100,000 to spend.
Oh my God.
Yeah, look.
Take Chuck Fletcher's
Projected cap space, 118.
They'll figure it out.
Take his checkbook away from him.
His Chuck book.
His checkbook.
Right?
Like, stop spending.
I don't think he's
Maybe that's with injury. Maybe with injury reserve, you got Couturier and Ellis.
Yeah.
Maybe that number.
That's probably
Ellis would
what's
be on
going
the
on.
roster, but he would need to go.
Okay,
to
but
LTIR.
but then what
Couturier was injured a lot last season.
What if Couturier and Ellis come back?
I don't know.
All right, so you got a good roster. They're
Yeah,
gonna
but
come back.
it'd be $100 million on the cap.
They'll do something.
They're going to be active. They're going to be active, and they're going to give us a lot more reason to talk about them. It's going to be fun.
Why? Oh,
Don't stop disparaging Chuck Fletcher.
This is bad.
Chuck Fletcher is great news for this show.
Oh yeah.
I hope he's never fired.
Oh my God, this is such a bad.
Adam, you're
fans,
gonna
I'm so
regret. You're gonna regret your New Jersey.
No,
pick.
I said New
Yeah.
Jersey's better. I do think New Jersey's better. I still think the Flyers are better than New Jersey, which tells you where both teams are at.
Yeah, Devils
who
fans,
else-
you turn me.
Who else do you need to come out against? So you need to come out of the Metro, right? So you're coming out against. So you got to beat New York, Philly, Pittsburgh, Washington, who they're definitely not better than then. Columbus. I don't know what Columbus is right now, but I think they're the third worst team. Are they the third worst team at this point?
They never are.
I know, but they always feel like but they're always the team that's on the edge of the playoffs.
Yeah,
If they're not actually in
they're. Oh, you mean in the Metro?
the Metro.
I thought you meant in the league. I was like, Jesus Christ, Adam.
Absolutely not. No, in the Metro. They're always the team that's on the fringe of making the
Wait,
playoffs.
what? Are you a third worst team?
In the Metro.
In the Metro.
Who do you have below them?
Flyers in New Jersey.
What are you talking
The
about?
Blue Jackets?
The Blue Jackets don't have a better team than the Devils.
Yes, they do. They play a way better team. Or they are a better
Adam's
team.
so low on the Devils.
Oh,
the
my
Devils suck.
God!
Dude, the Devils are crap, guys. They're so fucking bad.
Buddy, they're
they
gonna
have guys.
This
they
is
have
your Joe
no-
Sakic tweet.
Oh,
This is your Joe Sakic tweet.
You guys actually think the Devils have a chance?
I think they're going to finish ahead of Columbus.
Against Merzlikins? Get out of here.
He's a good goalie.
Get out of here. Goaltending alone. It's not
Vanacek's not a good goalie.
The Metro's like friggin' wild because like Kadri potentially going to at least two of the teams there. Malkin potentially leaving. The Devils maybe acquiring another goalie. The Flyers being the Flyers. The Blue Jackets being in on everyone somehow.
because they have 16 million or 17 million in cap space to do it.
And then there's
Guys, the Blue Jackets are a good team.
the Rangers who are just sort of good. Yeah, man.
I'm telling you.
that division's ridiculous.
Devils
It's a deep division.
suck, but they're not. Listen,
Adam.
here's the thing: the Flyers are heading down. The Devils are headed up.
My
So
brother
if I was
in
buying
Christ-
stocks, I'd be buying the Devil stock.
Yeah.
You know what
Right
I'm
now,
saying?
I probably rank the Flyers as the worst team in the Metro, and then I don't know. I have Columbus like at fourth. They're looking,
Yeah.
or not Columbus, New Jersey.
Fourth now over who?
I gotta see what Washington.
Over who?
I gotta see what Washington does. I gotta see what Pittsburgh does. But Carolina and New York, they're up top there.
This is not
And
what I
then
thought
that-
was going to set you up.
Wow, New
And
York,
then,
New York,
that middle-
Pittsburgh, Washington. Come on, guys.
And also, why
Carolina.
do you believe in the Islanders?
I think okay. So the interesting thing with the Islanders is the new coach is a real twist. I'm not sure what that looks like. Obviously, we're ignoring the Carolina Hurricanes because obviously
Starting
they're
the
good.
season with a schedule that's not fucked.
Yeah, there's that. There's the fact that Trotz isn't there, so maybe they'll actually be allowed to carry the puck in the offensive zone once. And I think they're going to go out and make a major acquisition in terms of goal scoring. They know they need to. It's what's great about the Islanders situation is that it's simple. You need to score more goals. That is a very simple problem to solve with money.
I think you're forgetting all the good players we just mentioned are going to the Leafs.
None of them are. None of them are. I'm just saying.
I know.
Blackhawks continue to make massive changes, like we said. Strome and Kubalik may not even get qualifying offers. It looks like Kubalik definitely will not. Still not
Strome.
100% clear on Strome.
Good one.
But, okay, so what I don't understand about this
Is who's going to fucking play for the Blackhawks?
is who's going to play for the Blackhawks, and are those guys not useful players to sell?
It's weird.
Like, can you not sell an RFA and make some draft pick?
Like, you couldn't get anything? You couldn't get anything for Kubalik? You couldn't get anything for Strome? I mean, I will always assume they tried, but you're forgetting the the Buffalo tank for Eichel and McDavid, which should not be replicated, by the way.
Yeah, don't do that.
But
Dylan Strome had 50 points last year, or 48. Dominic Kubalik had 32, including 15 goals. You couldn't get anything?
every time the Blackhawks shed another piece, I'm like, holy shit, Connor Bedard must be good. And that's the only...
Adam will scroll. Stop scrolling.
I'm sorry. Man. It's that time of year. It's that time of year. I'm excited.
to talk and scroll Twitter.
I'm excited. What the fuck? I'm
Nothing's
fucking excited.
happened. Don't worry. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Because I was going to
excited.
tell you about Brett Connolly, but you beat me to it.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Dude,
I'm just giving
they're
you
not going to
shit.
have anybody.
I know. And this is the thing, is that when you do the rebuild thing, you have to do it. You can't do it in the Buffalo Sabres way, which is like blow everybody out and then have nobody. You need to have some veterans around, which Kane and Taves don't want to be. They don't want to be those guys.
So,
like the same way the Leafs had 27-year-old James Van Riemsdyk. You know, the Chicago Blackhawks had Strome, Kubalik, and DeBrincat, who were all under the age of like 25.
so those dudes, do they make 10 or 10.5?
10.5 each.
Oh, so that's $21 million. I wonder if they were like, John, Pat, do you want to be traded? And they went, no. And they went to Brincat's gone. John, Pat, do you want to be traded? No. All right. Doc's gone. Hagel's gone. Strome's gone. Who was the other guy? The other guy is
Mrazek
gone.
in.
Mrazek in.
Yeah,
There's
that's-
your goalie.
Yeah.
You want that?
You want to kill some penalties with Mrazek
You
in?
want to keep going? Connolly's gone. Everyone is...
I gotta tell you, I have the exact same feeling about the situation. It seems like every move they make is a message to Taves and Kane to get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck
We're
out of
not
here.
leaving you with anything. Request a trade and move on.
So what Tampa supposedly did to Ryan McDonough is he had a no trade and not a no move. Here's the key difference there. A no trade, Tampa's like, listen, we know you don't want to be traded, but we'll just put you on waivers.
You know how if you were a smart hockey fan, you would have already known this because you would have listened to Agent Provocateur with Alan Walsh and Adam Wilde,
Yes.
where Alan Walsh explained this months ago, how a no trade clause isn't a no trade clause. We can find ways to get rid of you. And the exact situation he outlined was the McDonough move, where they said, we'll just send you wherever we want. And that means the AHL. And somebody will claim you on waivers, and then you're gone anyway. So accept a trade, or that's it.
But Taves and Kane have full no move protection, which
Yes,
means
they do.
they are in 100% control.
Although I thought maybe that has changed in the last year. I want to check that for sure.
Oh, you know what?
I think it has.
You might be right, because I think it might be modified.
Oh no, fuck! I'm wrong again.
Are you wrong?
No, it's
Yeah,
no
no.
move. It's
They
no
have-
move.
they have
I
full.
thought that
I
they were one of
appreciate
those
you
weird
saying
deals that
again.
had it in the last 2 years. You know, sometimes those deals have that.
Yes.
But I was wrong.
No, they
Somebody
got
else.
You're also, you know how I know they didn't have to modify anything? You're forgetting how good those two were when they signed the deals.
They were amazing.
The world in which Kane and Taves signed those deals was not a world in which they got anything less than what they wanted. Hi, we just won 3 cups in 6 years, and we're one of the best players on the Canadian Olympic team, one of the best players on the American Olympic team. Give us what we want.
And I would argue that they had every reason to believe they were going to continue to win cups because Duncan Keith was signed long-term, Seabrook was signed long-term, and Corey Crawford was still playing well. And, of course, they had a bunch of young pieces and the emergence of Artemi Panarin.
Shit changes fast.
Sure
Did
does.
the Keith news break after our recording on Friday?
I think it did.
Yeah, I don't think
Duncan
we
Keith
ever touched
retiring.
on
No,
that,
we didn't
yeah.
touch on it. I could tell you that one of the funniest tweets I saw on it was Archaeology going, my favorite time as Duncan Keith as an Oiler is today when he announced his retirement. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Got them a cap. No, it got them cap space. you know?
Right.
It's pretty
There's
good.
no cap credit for that for the
That's-
Oilers.
That
to
was
be
never
clear.
a thing.
So
People
can you explain that? People thought that was, but you were the only one who explained it to me in a way I can understand.
people misinterpreted the language in the CBA. So in in the situation of a buyout, there's distinct language in the CBA that says, hey, if this happens, a team can receive a cap credit. But in the situation of retirement, that same language doesn't exist in the CBA. So people misread what was happening there. Only a penalty goes to the signing team. But let's all be honest here. The penalty going to the signing team still makes no sense. When you trade a player, you're trading the contract and the player to the new team.
You're punishing the team for something they did in like 2012.
Yeah.
Like I don't
the team that has the player now should have all of their rights, including this contract and like how it works now.
Yeah.
So if there's a penalty, it should go to the team that owns the player.
Well, and like with Luongo, aren't two teams being penalized?
Yeah, the Canucks and the Panthers.
What the
Like why?
14 years later, they're being penalized.
Well,
It
it's
doesn't
like what
make
I said
sense.
about the Wild. Why are we penalizing a team that signed legal contracts? These were legal within the league rules. They may not have been in the spirit, but they were legal. And we're penalizing one of the best markets in hockey, $14 million off their cap for the next 2 years, and I think 12 the year after, or whatever the order is. For what?
8 years after they signed it.
Yeah. Why?
It's
Why?
not relevant.
It doesn't matter. And you know what? I bet Garen's going to put together a team that wins anyway. But it's just one of those where you the only people this punishes really is the fans of the team.
No one is gaining from the situation.
No, because the general manager's like, well, there's money I don't have to pay, and the GM's like, well, there's money that I can't spend. So who's it really hurting?
On Duncan Keith, I don't think they've officially announced it yet. And, you know, they're going to want to give Keith his due because he's had a spectacular career. A lot of people aren't understanding that that toy's not shiny anymore to a lot of people.
Given the Blackhawks situation?
Yeah. A lot of people really aren't understanding that.
And I think a lot of people now would go, well, why is that again?
Well, yeah, because he refused to participate in the Jenner and Block investigation for the Blackhawks and Kyle Beach. I locked eyes with Danny Wirtz at a hotel at the draft.
I bet he said hi and gave you a hug.
He did not. But it's like, listen, he was a physical freak. He had an amazing career. We've talked about how it's not the Hockey Hall of Good Guys. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's the Hockey
he'll
Hall
go to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Because he deserves to.
Mm-hmm.
But if people don't like him very much, I don't really think you have a leg to stand on. I'm allowed to not like him.
Yeah, I also think, you know what pissed me off last year was like him bitching about getting he was late to camp because he didn't bother to get a vaccine even though he knew he had to get one. It's not your pro-vax or anti-vax. I don't give a shit about that. You knew you had to be vaccinated to be at camp. You waived your no trade clause to go to Edmonton to play with Connor McDavid specifically. That's why you waived it. And then he's like, I'm going to be a few days late, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't bother getting my Johnson & Johnson shot. Yeah. One shot deal. Like, get out of here.
I don't know why you didn't go get it. You weren't busy helping out in the investigation.
That's right.
What were you
busy doing?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, and I think a lot of people have to throw this out there. There was also the fact that he was a leader on the team, and it's come out since that players on the team were bullying Veach about this. And you're a leader on that team, and you're on the ice.
The story hasn't really evolved. Like, we haven't really gotten any new details since it's sort of come to an end and Beach got his settlement and everything. And one of the people who should probably be pretty glad about that is him.
Yeah. So the Oilers are, while we're talking about them, Oilers are frustrated by the lack of interest in Jesse Puljujarvi.
I saw that.
Whose fault is that?
Could it be that they spent the last 5 years destroying his value?
Right. Everybody knows you don't want him because you hate him.
So there's Jesse's famous clip. Cameron, what the fuck? And I'm just imagining Ken Holland going, Darren, what the fuck?
Darren Dreger?
Yeah, tweeting that out.
Oh, yeah.
That the Oilers are frustrated. No one wants Jesse Puljujarvi, a player who every member of the Oilers media has just dragged all the way through the mud. Hey, why don't you want this piece of shit? Why don't you want this fucking useless, doesn't play hard, garbage picks his nose with his tongue. Piece of shit.
That's literally how the Oilers are treating this.
Yeah, why can't we get a first round pick for this garbage hockey player?
All they've done is just say how they don't want Jesse Puljujärvi for years now, and then they're upset that they can't move him.
And to be clear, I don't think he's a bad player.
No.
I just think it's not surprising at all. And there are teams that do value him, and I think they're just, LMAO.
Right.
I can't wait to deal like 2 conditional fourths for this guy.
Everybody around the league just needs to wait this out, and you're going to get a 7th round pick for him.
Yeah, the Oilers need cap space to do what they want to do. Like they want to spend big. They would like to bring Kane back. Probably they're going to go out and they're going to get Jack Campbell. They might get another guy. They're trying to ship bodies out. This is one of them, and why not wait them out? Why not wait them out? Create pressure on the Oilers. Make Ken Holland's job difficult. They don't necessarily, I think, in their eyes, need to get a player back.
They just want the room.
They want assets.
More than anything, they just want to not have him.
They just want to not have him, right? So waiting him out, I think, makes it more difficult. And also, I forgot to mention this earlier when we were discussing Matt Murray. My tinfoil hat theory. So the Leafs are looking through his medical records, supposedly making sure everything's okay. I think another thing to that is, obviously they are looking through the medical records, but free agency is in 48 hours. And I think delaying an answer on whether or not that's happening creates more pressure on other teams trying to get deals done.
Good theory.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Oh, a bit of a theory, boy.
Just a little bit of a theory.
The Flames are less than 48 hours away as of the time of this recording from losing the ability to sign Johnny Gaudreau to the 8th year of his contract.
Yep.
Yeah, but do you want to sign him to that 8th year? Like, I know it gets the cap hit down, but like, Johnny Gaudreau is 28, believe it or not, because he started kind of late.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you want to sign him till he's... Dude, Chris Letang is signed till he's 41.
So what's wrong with 36? You just argued with yourself.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone is like, oh, that's great. That's great that he signed till he's 41.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I don't know, man. It looks to me like, because they're saying Tkachuk is having to wait. But if the Flames don't get this done, what then?
They're going to lose 2/3 potentially of a top line that scored 40 goals each.
2/3. One guy. They're not losing Tkachuk. He's an RFA.
He's going to be hard on them.
They have the cap space to give him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
They're down there with Arizona in terms of cap space available,
They got the money.
Yeah.
And if they don't get him, like we already know, and it doesn't mean that this would happen again, but like if they go after Kadri already nixed a trade there. Maybe he doesn't want to play there, or maybe at $10 million, he's like, oh, I'll play there.
He could change his mind.
Yeah. He's allowed to do that.
4.5. Fuck that.
Yeah.
10.
It's just
love Calgary. Love the Stampede. Love everything about it. I love mountains. I love elk. All of it.
Love the Saddle Dome.
The thing they're missing...
88's my favorite Olympics.
The thing they're missing is a center. Like a dynamic center. And I don't hate the idea of maybe you don't give Gaudreau all that money and instead you go out and you get your big center and Nazem Kadri.
Man.
If I'm a Flames fan and that ends up being the trade-off, I'm not upset.
So some people are going to hear what you just said and they're going to go, Toronto piece of shit doesn't understand this hockey team. Buddy, Lindholm nominated for the Selke.
Awesome player.
Backlund playing good hockey.
Awesome player.
McDavid tore them to fucking shreds.
4 games.
In the playoffs.
You didn't win a single versus that
And you're going to
team.
have to play him again.
No,
you're
it was 5. Calgary won the first one.
Especially if Edmonton... What?
It wasn't a
playoffs?
sweep?
No, remember Calgary won the
yeah.
first one 9-6?
Oh, yeah.
But it was 4 straight games
and
after that.
4 straight,
And to be honest with you, Jesse, it looks like Edmonton's 2 main targets this offseason, Claude Giroux and Jack Campbell. Let's imagine they get both.
I don't know how
they
the
make
cap
that work.
works.
Oh, Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Oh, I was like, well, how the fuck? Calgary's going to do what?
No.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
So then it makes it even that much harder for Calgary, right? And you would imagine, at very least, the Edmonton Oilers, if they get their goaltending somewhat sorted out with Jack Campbell, that does that. Jack Campbell does sort that out for them a little bit.
And just like
I think if you're Calgary, you got to look at how are we going to beat Edmonton next year,
Dude,
and to your point about the centers that you just listed, Lindholm and Backlund, they're still on the team. It's not like we're trading Kadri for one of those guys. No, you're adding to those centers.
well, and look at LA with their 1-2 punch there with Kopitar, Danault. Vegas is going to have a full season of Eichel.
Okay, let me ask you this.
That's going to be a good division.
Would you do this deal? Because according to Friedman, and he said, I've said many times, I think the number is 8 years, 9.5 per for Gaudreau. That's the offer Calgary made him. Gaudreau's camp is saying it's probably going to have to be higher than that. And Calgary's not crazy about it.
Oh, boy.
I'd rather have Nazem Kadri.
I mean, but you're probably paying $10 million for Nazem Kadri.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think he comes in at 9 something.
I mean, it'd be a great deal.
What do you think?
But he had a 100-point season, didn't he?
This is going to be a fascinating...
No.
Because I keep saying this offseason has the potential to be like 2016. The difference is 2016,
87.
The cap was always going to go up. I think the players are trying to take back control, and they're trying to put pressure on these teams, and they're trying to get them to spend as much as possible. I just don't know if it's there. I just don't know if the space is there. Like, people are talking about, well, in a few years it'll go up. Yeah, in a few years, but what, in your contention window, you're just fucked?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's...
Welcome to the Leafs.
Well, yeah, and who wants to be them?
Nobody.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I
sure
think
there's parts of them that are appealing, but who wants to be them?
I think too. Here's the hole I would poke in that. If you're going to let Gaudreau go, he's 28, guys. Kadri's 31.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But your window's within that range here of like 3 years, you know?
And having Kachuk and Kadri, just two absolute bastards.
That sounds like a good playoff team.
Oh my
and Milan
God.
Lucic just enabling the both of them.
Yeah.
You still got like Blake Coleman there.
Yeah.
That's a good team.
Oh, that's a Sutter team.
Nah.
That's a Sutter
You
team.
did
good
what? I'm going to
goaltending.
kick your ass. And Lucic goes and just swallows them whole. And just,
He's like Kirby. Just
just... and they just go away. Disappear for a while.
I asked Jesse and Steve to tell me, because there are a lot of free agents, like really good free agents available this year, to tell me which three free agents they're most excited about. Not for any particular reason other than you guys are excited about them because of the storylines associated. So we'll do it a round at a time. This isn't a 3-2-1. It's just tell me who you're interested in. Whose story are you interested to follow, Steve, on Wednesday?
I'm going to do a slash.
Okay.
Because to me, they're one and the same. Jack Campbell / Darcy Kemper.
Okay.
Because that it dictates everything else that happens in free agency. If I had to pick one, I'll say Kemper because we don't know where he's going.
Interesting.
And with Jack Campbell, we do.
Okay, Jesse.
Evander Kane.
Oh,
I think to me, this is the most interesting storyline of this offseason because we could see a team sign Evander Kane this offseason, and then a man who's a judge who's been on vacation for 2 months come back and say, no, this player, Evander Kane, is property of the San Jose Sharks, and now there must be compensation going back to that team or whatever deal they want to do. And retroactively, we get some weird deal with two GMs negotiating Evander Kane's rights. To me, this is crazy.
They're going to throw that. They have to throw that out the window. They cannot enforce that.
How is this still not solved?
Who even has the leverage there? Let's pick a team at random. The Dallas Stars.
Sure.
So let's say he signs a deal with the Dallas Stars.
Okay.
Does San Jose hold the leverage? Because, well, actually, he's technically ours, so you owe us whatever we want? Or, well, how does that work?
So what I've heard is that they would, if it says the Stars, they would work out a deal with the Sharks beforehand, before signing that contract. So depending on whatever the arbitrator decides, there's already something in place.
Weird.
So it would be like, okay, arbitrator says this, hit option 1. Arbitrator says this, hit option 2. And then that's what's going to happen in terms of the signing and the compensation going back to the San Jose
If his
Sharks.
stock has gone up, you got to imagine the Sharks are going to... First of all, financially, the Sharks are going to get smashed. It's going to be bad for them, money-wise. But in terms of an asset, you were talking about the best goal scorer of these past playoffs.
Mm-hmm. So it could be like, hey, arbitrator says Kane should have been on the Sharks all along. The contract is honored. Here's a second round pick to the Sharks, whoever signed him, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if Edmonton gets him, which they apparently, according to Insider Tim Peel, he said they offered him a 4-year, $9 million per.
What? Actually?
Yeah, that's what he tweeted out. He said that he has sources telling him. I didn't.
Did anybody corroborate
Nobody
that?
has corroborated that.
Okay.
But
to give you an idea of how much money that is, Friedge and Merrick on their post-draft show speculated 4 times 9 for Evgeny Malkin.
Mm-hmm. That's we'll get there, aren't we? He's on my list.
Okay. Yeah, Evander Kane, quite simply, is the most complicated, and it will be a precedent-setting move because no player's ever been in this position. You're right, Jesse.
And like, we could all he could sign, and then the arbitrator comes back and says, no, San Jose had every right to void the contract. He was an idiot. Like, that could also be the case.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I went completely second and third line guy on this. And that's because the big names are getting the most of the oxygen. Obviously, we just talked about Gaudreau. We talked about Chuck Fletcher and Deangelo. We talked about Kadri. We talked about all those things. What about Vinny Trocheck?
That's a good one.
Vinny Trocheck, who can play center, who is strong defensively, is a pain in the ass to play against, 20 goals a year, 50 points a year. I feel like that's a Daryl Sutter type player, but I want to know where this guy ends up because I think any team that gets him instantly gets better, and I think he makes you much better in the playoffs. He's a half a point a game guy for sure, but I think Vinny Trocheck to me, what's that?
You need those.
You do need those. He's 29, a center, normal size, 5'10", 183 pounds.
Average.
I wondered.
Small side of average.
I wonder if the Leafs are kind of eyeing him too, because if you are moving Tavares to the wing, he's got to be somewhat of a cost-effective option. $5 million? You think for a guy like that?
Trocheck centering Tavares and Nylander. LMAO.
Be at least 2/3 strong defensively.
It'd be pretty fun.
Just a thought. Okay, so next one, Steve.
Another slash, but this one also makes sense. Don't laugh at me. Joe Thornton / Zdeno Chara.
Oh,
and
okay.
not for where they're going to sign, but for where they potentially won't, which is anywhere. 2 guys drafted in the 90s, still going in their 40s. One has his cup and could probably just retire and ride off into the sunset and be the most appreciated player in Slovakian hockey history. We saw he had that message for Juraj Slafkovsky.
Yeah.
Zdeno Chara might finally be retiring. Super cool. And Joe Thornton, though, does he still want one last crack at winning the cup? And is anyone willing to give it to him?
Probably not.
Yeah.
We've thought that for several years now.
Jesse, your pick.
Yevgeny Malkin. The word out of Pittsburgh right now is that the negotiations are getting contentious and bleak.
We had heard that they were getting better.
And they are not happy with each other because Malkin wants a bunch of years and a bunch of monies, and Brian Burke's sitting there saying, no.
He deserves it.
But at 35 years old, I think he'll be 36 by the time the season starts. If I'm not mistaken, I might have his birthday wrong. But
I think you're right because he was drafted the year before Crosby.
There you go. So 36 by the time the season gets underway, and he wants 4 years times $9 million. They just gave a bunch of money to Chris Letang. Penguins don't want to do this at all at the number that Malkin wants. And we could see one of the longest marriages in hockey that's still going break up this offseason. I think that's fascinating.
Jeez.
Also, some other team might come in and give him all of that cash and might regret it immensely. But we'll see.
What if I think it might come down to Sid going, Gino, come on.
You think so? Do you think he has that kind of pull with him?
If Sid told me to do something, I'd do it.
Okay. All right.
Gino. Come on.
In keeping with my theme, and again, I've got both eyes on the Carolina Hurricanes this offseason because Don Waddell is ruthless. You saw the kind of thievery that he pulled with Tony Deangelo, and everybody's like, well, the picks are 2 years in advance. Like, who cares? They got a 101st pick, and then he got a third next year and a second. No. Don Waddell's using that as trade capital, guys. That's not those picks. If those picks ever get picked by Carolina, I'd be shocked. He is using that at the trade deadline to pick up somebody else. Is he going to re-sign another great player on his team, Nino Niederreiter? Nino Niederreiter has played 11 seasons and he's 29. He is...
Most fun name to say.
No, absolutely. El Nino. And he just scored a goal below his career height. So 24 goals, 20 assists, 44 points. He is good for half a point a game again, but I feel like this is the kind of player that they really come through for you in the playoffs. You want them to be on your team in the playoffs. If you have a guy like him on your third line, you probably have a Stanley Cup roster. And I feel like, do the Leafs not have issues on the wing in certain ways? I know it's the left wing, but
Well. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Everyone's going to the Leafs.
he's a right winger, but couldn't you?
Everyone's going to the Leafs.
Could you not? Yeah, we absolutely have to do that.
No, we're obligated.
if
People would think less of us if we didn't.
If you remember, Blake Coleman's signing was big last year, but it did kind of fly under the radar a little bit. I feel like you got to watch these guys because they make a big splash when it matters. I know you guys are kind of laughing at me because I'm not picking any of the big names.
No, I'm not laughing at you.
You're sort of laughing.
I'm not laughing.
I'm telling you. All right, next you pick.
I have a question. Jesse, there was a Hockey DB page on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your guy?
Nazem Kadri?
Well, I was going to keep it under.
It's not my guy.
Oh, it's not your guy? Well, in that case, I'll go with Nazem Kadri.
Okay. I said it because it wasn't my guy.
Well, I didn't want to shaft you.
No, that's fair.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. So, yeah, you're welcome, but I'm doing it anyway. So, Nazem Kadri, best center available. And this reminds me of the summer of Brad Richards. This dude, and I'm not saying that as an insult to Kadri, although that ended up not being a very good signing. Rangers got pretty far with him. I want to say he was part of that team that went to the final in 2014. But
He was.
Kadri's going to get a ton of money. It doesn't, like, there's no consensus for where he's going to go at all.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard Philly. We've heard the Islanders. We've heard he's going to go back to the Avalanche. And the reason he's so important isn't just that. Do you remember who the Leafs got to play center for $4.5 million for 2 seasons?
Tim Connolly.
Because they didn't get Brad Richards. It was Tim Connolly. So people are going to get paid based on Kadri's number. Right?
Vinny Trotcha.
He could potentially get paid based on Kadri's number. And all these players in the league have got to be like, give me Naz's number. Hey, Naz, don't take a discount. For the love of God, don't take a discount. You're spending my money, asshole. Sign for as much money as possible. That's how I see it.
Jesse.
I'm going to go a little off the board. I think people are forgetting that this man is a free agent and that his signing will be very interesting because we're going to see what team and what role he thinks his career is at. PK Subban.
Oh,
that's a fascinating one.
He
You're
is
right.
a UFA, and where he signs at what number will be fascinating for the storylines and his career moving forward. This is a former Norris Trophy winner who has destroyed his career through exercise. His back is gone. His skating has diminished greatly, and he hasn't adjusted his play really to play in a new style. Him signing this offseason will be the biggest indicator of where his career is headed. This is the first time PK is signing a deal since the famous Montreal, here's a bunch of millions of dollars contract.
Jeff Molson calling Mark Bergevin and saying, sign him now.
Yep. That contract has finally expired right now. On Wednesday, it has finally expired, and we get to see the next phase of his career. I am going to be following this closely because it will be fascinating.
Could be a humbling experience, or it could get super overpaid.
Right.
I guess we'll see.
And speaking of super overpaid, I love the player. You're going to hate the contract, Andre Palat. Andre Palat is going to be a really interesting one. He's coming off one where he's making $5.3 million. You saw him get 11 goals in the playoffs, and there's going to be a lot of teams on the cusp of making it there, getting there. And they're going to look at this guy and go, well, he helped Tampa get good players, great players. Kucherov, Stamkos there. Can he do it for us?
Easily the most maddening signing on Wednesday. Actually, it could be today or tomorrow. Is going to be when he takes less to stay in Tampa.
Yeah, no kidding. But if he doesn't,
Leagueman.
if the Oilers
not?
swing
Why
and
not?
miss on Kane and Giroux, that's when I got my eyes on. Palat and Hyman on your wings?
You know what's going to suck? When the Oilers win the Cup with 4 former Leafs.
It might be. I don't know. I like those mid-range deals because we always used to say this. $5 million contracts kill your team. Mm-hmm. Look at a team with a bunch of $5 million contracts, and I will show you a terrible hockey team. Look at the Flyers. They have a ton of $5 million contracts. They're garbage.
You know what's funny is it can also save your team. It just depends who you sign to them, right?
Right.
Because now that because remember, $8 million when we originally said that when the
Was
podcast
like the top
started,
you can make.
It's like the top you can make, and now we have a bunch of guys in the double digits or pressing up on the double digits. Now it's signing those double digit guys to like 6.5, 7, 8.
Still,
$1 million.
what's a $5 million player even now?
Apparently, Jack Campbell and Ilya Mikheyev on the open market. Like again,
Like that's bananas.
yeah, people forget
You pay
about
for
what
it.
free agency is.
Yeah.
It's supply and demand.
Mhm.
It's supply and demand.
Mhm.
Is Jack Campbell like you're gonna see a goalie out there and you're gonna be like, what the hell? This goalie is better than Jack Campbell. Why does Jack Campbell make more money than this goalie? Well, Campbell hit free agency, and I bet the other guy didn't, or the other guy signed a deal many years ago.
Yep.
This is how it works. So who's going to get overpaid? Almost everyone. That's how it works. Teams who do most of their business in free agency tend to not succeed.
Who's going to beat? Is there anybody in there that you're watching? Because, like, again, I'm a huge fan of Palat and the way he plays. I think he's going to get overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, there's UFA overpaid, and then there's overpaid. Holy shit! By like, what was the 2016 or 2017 free agency class where
It's
everybody was a
16.
swing and a miss?
Disaster.
That was Okposo and
Filppula
Filppula.
and Brouwer and friggin'
Islanders had one of them.
Ladd, I want to say.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of really bad ones.
Yeah, not Okposo's fault. There were some health issues there, but everybody else, you kind of go, holy smokes, that was bad.
Yeah.
There's going to be some of that this year. Palat's going to be one to watch. The Predators did get it done. Philip Forsberg is staying 8 years, $70 million.
Maybe had the most underrated season out of anyone in the NHL last year.
Yep.
Like one of the had he stayed healthy, it could have potentially been like a friggin' Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa thing with Philip Forsberg and Austin Matthews. I think he would have cracked 50 had he stayed healthy. He was bananas. Great player. 8 years, the rare 8 years, and then
And they
he
got him done.
signs that deal and then goes on a bachelor party. What a life!
That's good. Well, good for him. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
Lost in the action also this weekend. Adrian Kempe re-signs with the Kings. This is a great deal. 4 years, $22 million. That is a $5.5 million contract that you want.
Obnoxiously good deal.
That's fan-flippin-tastic.
Really
so
good
great
deal.
signing. And then Georgiev, who was traded to the Avs, has now signed with the Avs. 3 years, $10 million.
Get that bag, kid. Get that bag, kid. It's going to be interesting.
That is a lot of money for a guy who's been good against the Leafs and not many other teams. Like, he's been okay, but like I would have taken Georgiev because my options are Georgiev and Matt Murray.
I think.
But I'm wondering if like the Avs fans, obviously Francouz had good numbers.
Yeah.
Not great, but good. Kemper had good numbers, not great.
I think he's got what it takes.
Be a starter.
Yeah,
Platoon?
I think platoon because Francouz is that good. Francouz has also had health issues. But I think Georgiev's like victim of being behind Shesterkin, who's fucking unreal. Right? And we look at him and he's anything but Superman and we're like, oh my God, what a bum. He's also fairly young. Like he's playing behind a guy who's younger and better. But that doesn't make Georgiev bad. It just makes Shesterkin that.
It makes him not
amazing.
the starter in New York.
That makes him not the starter in New York. He's the starter in Colorado, and you can be league average in Colorado and win a Stanley Cup convincingly.
It's
Don't
also
worry about
such good value. 3.4 for a
For
goalie.
3 years.
For 3 years. That's great value.
3 years. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
I haven't heard a lot of this. And
They
I
also
wanna know
have Justus Annunen coming up through the system. I think he's going to be good.
I haven't heard a lot from what Colorado is going to do. They have the money, $21 million, but they got to re-sign a lot of people. Nichushkin. Apparently, they're making headway on that. As of right now, they're close.
He's going to screw our show up, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Which is fine. Do you care about?
No.
We've had 10 years of being out of date. Do you care?
No.
But I look at this. The defense looks good. The forwards look good. But have you heard a whole lot on what Colorado's going to do to replace Kadri?
I have not, no. I mean...
Is there a chance that he resigns them?
My assumption is they're going to have to rely on some young guys to pull more weight than they're maybe ready for. Namely Alex Newhook.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
and Cogliano's sticking around.
The good thing about being the Stanley Cup champions is it's not hard to convince people to sign with you. So I think regardless, they'll be able to get someone good.
Newhook's that guy.
You think so?
Newhook stepping in. That's a second line center eventually.
When I watched him play in the playoffs, I was like, this guy's good, and this guy needs someone to pass to. I just don't really think the third and fourth line suited him.
Nino Rider.
He did fine in that role, but like I think if you give him some guys to pass to, he'll be great.
Move him up.
Also from the Colorado Avalanche, no one's mentioned it yet, which tells me they're working on something. Nathan McKinnon extension is now available anytime.
Ooh.
So he makes $6.3 million. He's still only 26
Overpaid.
years old. So you know that's going to be an 8-year contract. Is it double?
12?
Don't you think?
I mean, oh man. And he's UFA too, isn't he?
He's UFA after this season.
Yeah, 27.
I mean, he could get more than Matthews.
Sure.
I don't think it does though.
I think you could argue, if you're his agent, for sure, you could say he's worth more than Matthews. He won a cup.
If I'm McKinnon, just for the stories and lulls, I signed for 11.633.
Yeah.
3.
McDavid's what? 12?
I still make less than Matthews.
12 what? 12.5? McDavid?
12.5.
12.5. McKinnon comes in at 11 something. I think
it's got to be right
where you nailed, right where you said might be it.
Like right underneath Matthews.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
11.633.
Yeah, I think it's 11. Like 11 flat.
It's gotta be, right?
I think that's fair value.
And so that's the thing. Like if you're the Avs, I mean, you got to consider that for next season because you got Landeskog obviously locked up too. I don't know. Ooh.
So wait, let me try something here.
Still, the Avs will have Landeskog, Rantanen, and McKinnon locked up. Each of them, only two of them, or one of them will make more than $10 million. Just drives me crazy.
God. 11.625 is an even $93 million over 8 years. Because I think these guys, when they get to the 8-year territory, they're like, "Here's the amount of money I want." So, like 100,000. Or sorry, 100 million. That's what McDavid signed for, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how he got to 12.5. Yeah. So should the negotiation start there or start above it? Listen, we want $100 million. Or what if it's 95? 90,
what's 95?
95.
Should 95 divided by 8.
95. Yeah, I know. I should do that. 11.875. Which would make him the second highest paid player in the league.
Sounds about right. You can't overpay Nathan McKinnon. That's the thing.
No,
when you get to the high ends, you can't really overpay. You can't overpay Matthews. You can't overpay McKinnon.
Yeah, you're getting a deal on them no matter what.
Because of how the salary cap works, these guys are going to pay less than the value because you can only pay them so much percentage.
Yes.
So no matter what he wants, you're getting a deal. It's
90,
Nathan McKinnon, it's Matthews, it's McDavid.
90 is an even 11.25.
So it's probably going to be either that 90 or 95.
What if he says, "Fuck it, I want 100"?
And this is 12.5.
All right, cool. We'll figure it out. We got Cale McCarr, we got McKinnon, we got Landeskog, we got Rantanen. We're fine.
Yeah, everyone else doesn't matter.
We also won a Stanley Cup already. We're good. Here you go.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Like the scary thing about Colorado is they still have kids coming.
Yeah.
The one of the things that we're going to work on once free agency passes is trade trees. And one of the ideas that we're floating around is updating some of the trade trees that we've done. We have already done the Matt Duchene trade. And holy shit.
There's a lot?
Keeps going.
Oh my God. Yeah, it keeps going. And that trade's fingerprints are all over the Stanley Cup.
I love that.
What's the furthest you've started back and then it keeps going?
People keep asking us to do really long ones, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to though.
Mm-hmm.
Probably either the Lindros trade tree. No, it'd be the Gretzky one because the Gretzky one was summer 1988, and it's still going.
1988. Okay.
There was another one.
I want to see you do something like from the 40s and then get to 2022.
There was another one.
Adam, wouldn't that be fun?
No, that's just you doing it to do it.
Yeah.
Because
do it to do it.
No, but most of the people watching aren't like, oh yeah, friggin' Sprague Cleghorn. I know that guy.
What about a 100-year trade tree?
Oh,
Can you start
yeah.
in 1922 and get to 2022?
What was the first trade?
First real trade. I don't know. Because they used to
like-
buy and sell players, right?
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I don't think you should do all the branches. Your goal should just be to get from point A to point B. Like you can skip all the side branches, as long as you find the one avenue that gets you 100 years.
I think here, let me
100-year trade tree. Write it down. Producer Drew, write it down.
I think the oldest one might be the Kent Nilsson
Giving out free ideas.
trade tree. Because is this it? All right, let me look. How trading Kent Nilsson in 1985 led to the Flames acquiring 2 Hockey Hall of Famers. Because the Kent Nilsson trade directly leads to Jerome McGinley becoming the captain of the Calgary Flames.
Nice.
JT Miller is still on the market, by the way. Last thing before we get to the press conference. There was a deal apparently in place with the Islanders. The Canucks were not allowing teams to talk extension with him. They weren't allowing anybody to talk extension with him. And that may change going forward because that seems like a bit of a thing. I guess they didn't want to affect his value if he wouldn't resign. But also, it looks like the Islanders said no to JT Miller because the deal got leaked and Lou got mad.
Yeah, we've heard that. But to me, it's 6 and half a dozen. Either you let him talk to a team and he says he's not going to resign, and the team is like, oh, okay, well, then we know we're only getting him as a 1-year guy. Mm-hmm. Or you don't let the team talk to them and they're forced to assume he's only going to be a 1-year guy.
Yeah.
So let's just let them talk.
Yeah.
One scenario, you won't make any progress. In another scenario, you might. Go with the might. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but that's what they want to do. Let's get in the press conference. You got to hear about Z-Biotics, especially if you just spent a weekend in Montreal like the three of us did. Listen, Z-Biotics is something you take the day before. It's a pre-alcoholic probiotic and the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. We know what that feels like, don't we?
Yes.
Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this product down. It's designed to work like your liver, but it's in your gut where you need it the most. And remember, you got to drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol, and please drink responsibly. So check this out. Go to Z-Biotics to try it for yourself. zbiotics.com/SDP to get 15% off your first order when you use the code SDP at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed by a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/SDP and use that code SDP at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode. It's free agency week, and as we talked about with Dave Bastel, listen, there are some props available for you for free agency. There's some stuff that you might want to take a look at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. They've been doing it right since 1997. They are Canada's sportsbook with the most competitive odds. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and easy to cash out. Join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. How much?
All.
That's right. sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That is sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Just before we get to Jesse asking questions, sorry, Jess, a couple of things I did want to say. We will be recording the show Monday and then Thursday, Friday this week, because obviously Thursday's the day after free agency, and then Friday's the day after free agency, and that's when we expect all the signings to happen. So we want to be able to break things down properly. Also, Steve is working some streams on Sportsnet on Wednesday, which is awesome.
Yep.
Drew tweeted about that during the show, and I think the other thing, do we want to talk about the event right now?
Yep.
Or
Let me get to the press conference.
All right, let's get to the press conference.
Would you guys like to start work our way backwards, or do you want to start Wednesday and work our way to Friday night? That probably makes the most sense.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So Wednesday we touch down in Montreal. Adam drives. Steve and I fly. And Steve, you had your 3 days there were jam packed.
Oh,
You went from shooting stuff to Sportsnet to shooting stuff with us to going out with writers. You know, that was kind of your 3 day thing there.
pretty fun.
So you land, you shoot content.
basically, if I could choose to go to only one NHL event every year, draft, 100% the draft. Followed probably by Stanley Cup Final and maybe All-Star Game. But the draft is it's the best energy. The last day of school, no tension. Except for the insiders who are pulling out their hair. But it's so fun. So we're not even on the plane yet. And we see Pete DeBoer because he was getting on our plane. And he was wearing a Vegas Golden Knights mask, which I thought was very funny because I guess he doesn't have a Stars one yet.
That's crazy.
Oh my God. I didn't realize. I was like, yeah, what do you mean?
Now, when Steve says he's wearing a Vegas Golden Knights mask, I want you to know that he's not walking on the plane with Robin Leonard's goalie mask.
No.
He means that
it's N95.
sorry, it's on his.
Yeah, you're not allowed. You still have to fly with
N95
masks on.
Yeah.
In Canada, I don't know if. Oh yeah, it's not in the States because they had that weird cultish.
Yeah, when you
cheering
go
thing.
to the airport, as soon as you walk in the door, masks are still required in the airport and on the planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then our flight got in very Canadian style delayed. So we went to a restaurant, and we're sitting next to a family that is very obviously going to the draft because their kid's getting drafted.
Jesse's face.
What?
I don't know. There's just something about Jesse.
It's a good story. I know what's going to happen.
It is a good story.
I wasn't going to bother them.
Yeah.
One of them initiated conversation with me. I can't remember how, but I was like, "So, what are you guys going to the draft for?" And the kid who
Looked like a hockey player.
very obviously, like 17 or 18, is like, "Oh, I'm going to get picked, I hope." And I go, what's your name? Who are you? He goes, Zam Plant was his name. Z-A-M Plant, like Jack Plant, but he said Plant. I go, where do you think you're going to go? He goes, I think 3rd to 5th round. And I think he ended up going 5th round to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up here.
So he was absolutely
Pittsburgh
right.
Penguins, 5th round, 150 overall. Yep. Well done.
So I looked up his stats after they were done because they started their meal before Drew and I did. And I was like, he was second on his high school team in scoring. I wonder who was first. And it was his brother who initiated conversation with us, and I had no idea. And I didn't even think of him because his brother was like obviously younger. But Max Plant led that team in scoring, and he's 16. His draft year's 2 years from now. And he's really small. He's I think 5'8", $120, but give him a couple years to grow, and holy shit.
So you got to think, like, if his brother went 5th round and his little brother was the actual star of the team, where's this kid going? Where's Max going to go in the draft in a couple of years?
What piqued my interest immediately is he played for a Minnesota high school team, but he also played for gasp the Chicago Steel, that's Dubas's new Greyhounds.
Okay.
And-
Why is that? Why? What's the connection?
Their new, I think it's Ryan Hardy with the Marlies is from the Chicago Steel, and also Marlies head coach Greg Moore is from the Chicago Steel. The Leafs have just decided we do two things here in Toronto. We draft Sioux Greyhounds and Chicago Steel.
And they did do that. They drafted with their 2nd round pick a Chicago Steel.
They drafted a member of the Chicago Steel. And there were rumors of them getting other ones too. Like they love that program. So I saw this, and then I saw him again at a restaurant a couple days later, and I was like, you know what? This just feels like one of those things that are meant to be. I think the Leafs are going to get him. And then he went to the Penguins, but whatever.
So that's Wednesday.
I'm not even on the plane yet.
You're not even in Montreal yet.
Yeah, so we land in Montreal. We go to the hotel where I didn't stay. I stayed with you guys, but hung out with Drew for a little while because I arrived first. And it's just packed full of vaguely fit men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Wearing golf shirts,
wearing
tucked in
golf
pants.
shirts with tiny little hockey logos. Yeah, golf shirts tucked in pants. And also younger, taller versions of all of them who were very obviously prospects.
Right.
Like
And
I saw David Juracek.
let's fast forward a little to a couple hours later when Adam and I arrived to our hotel, and then Steve arrived shortly after.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on. As I head down to go pick up some Uber Eats food that I ordered, something happens with Steve.
So on my way to the, what should we call it? Sonder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonder or Sonde? Or
The place we stayed.
place we stayed. I'm looking down at my phone to order an Uber. Then a cab pulls up and he looks at me and he goes, and I go, yeah, all right. And so I get in the cab, drives me to the place. Thank you very much. Give him a tip, whatever. Go to the elevator. Come out of the elevator. I see you because you're on your way down. I give you a hug. Get to the room. See Adam. Give him a hug. He's like, and this is your room. I go, great. And I put my knapsack down and I go, fuck my luggage.
And he didn't do it quite like that because he smacked his own forehead.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen a person like, people do it like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was like, it was right out of a comedy bit,
No,
man.
he concussed himself.
Yeah.
No. And Adam's like, oh, call the guy. I go, it was a cab. He goes, what was the company? I go, I don't know.
I said, what color was the cab?
and I go, white?
So Adam calls Andrew Berkshire of Game Over fame because he's local to Montreal, and you ask him,
like,
what the hell are white cabs?
Are there white cabs? He's like, I don't know.
The only thing I had on poor Berkshire, who's like fucking Steve again.
Yeah.
Because when I came to Montreal, I think in 2016, I forgot my laptop on the plane.
Oh, yeah,
And they
that's
luckily
right.
found it before it took off, and I had to go back to the airport to get it. And Berkshire drove me. So I had my receipt. There's no number on it, but I'm like, okay, this is a place to start. This is a place to start. And I'm like, I got my head in my phone and I'm like frantically, I'm going back down the stairs and hoping for the off miracle chance that the guy's still outside
Still
the
parked
hotel.
outside, yeah.
And I walk by the concierge who's talking to someone and I look and out of the corner of my eye, I go, oh my God, it's the driver. And he was so amazing that he goes to the concierge. He's like, hey, some idiot just forgot his luggage in my cab. Can we go through the security footage and we'll try to figure out who it is?
What room he's in, just follow the cameras to where he's staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big shout out to
So
that guy.
instead of losing all of your luggage, you run back in and you see the cab driver at the security
Hugs
desk.
all around. Big
Unbelievable.
thanks for that guy.
So
then we hit the town.
yeah, so then Wednesday night we go whatever. Thursday morning is fun because whenever CJ and Julian get to record in person, I always say that recording shows over Zoom, like you can get to 98% of what it's like in person, but there's always that extra like 2% of real life that you're missing when you record over Zoom. And this is only the third time in the CJ show history that they've recorded in person, and we got it recorded in our in the place we were staying. It was a great episode. CJ kept dropping bombs.
Fantastic.
And then the magical moment happens towards the end of the show when his phone's sitting on the
getting
desk.
text live too.
If you watch the show on YouTube, if you're not an audio listener, if you're a watcher, you'll see CJ's phone sit on the desk, and it's constantly, you just see the light go off.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the episode, it starts flashing some more, and then he fully gets a phone call at the end because he has to do a radio hit and some other things are coming in, and he gets up and he leaves the show. As Julian's trying to rap, he has to do it. He's an important person.
Yeah.
And he has a phone call to take, and he has no choice but to get up in the middle of the recording and be like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go," and blah blah blah. Let's talk trades. So he gets up, and it's a fascinating moment. It's my favorite episode they've ever recorded.
Yeah.
I think
So
everybody
good.
who watched it has really enjoyed it. So
And
that happened Thursday morning.
Almost everything they talked about came true.
Yeah, they nailed a lot of the deals.
He was the first one I heard mention Kirby Doc, and I was like, what the?
Yeah, why
and
Kirby Doc? Yeah.
And he said
Sure
that the
enough.
Brinkett thing was like imminent and happening,
Yeah, that was another shocking one.
There were texts that he was getting while we were there, and we were like, really?
Yeah.
Like things that never made the air.
No. And then, so that happens, and that's also draft day. So we had dueling draft streams.
Thanks, Dix.
We can fast forward to that afternoon, but we sent our SDPN staff to the draft to go watch in person. And then Adam and I were the only members of SDPN that weren't actually at the draft.
That's
because
right.
We stuck around in the apartment to do a live stream on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SDPN live is where we went. And we did numbers that we don't usually do. And thank you everybody who watched it. It was unbelievable. And then before we get to your stream with Colby, which you have some fun stories from, actually you told a couple of them on Friday.
Yeah, you did.
You mentioned that. So, and we talked about our feet people.
Yeah, you did. You
We
did.
talked about it a little on Friday, but thank you everybody who watched that. You told the Letang story, so we don't even need to tell that.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then Friday we record early in the morning because that was supposed to be our sleep-in day, and then we record like at 11, and then we head to our SDPN lunch. But what happened with you?
I fucked this over because
We were supposed to sleep in.
I was like,
I
was like, oh, wait a sec.
fucked.
I go, oh, wait a sec. Well, and even Thursday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep. I know everyone's getting together at the bar. I'm going back to sleep. Oh, Marco Casper walked into our bar, remember? The top 10 pick of the Red Wings. And everyone just got up and applauded. He got a round of applause for existing.
He was wearing the jersey.
Good for
wearing
him.
the jersey.
As he should. That's
As
awesome.
he absolutely should. So he got a round of applause. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to the bar. And then I go, the draft is once a year, go to the bar. And I go, ah. And so like for Friday, I'm just,
I did not go to the bar that night because I was like, I will go to the bar the next night.
the only smart one, and it hurt. It hurt a lot. But yeah, no, Drew's like, well, I need you for the draft because we're shooting a video, you idiot.
Mhm.
And I said, cool. That's great. Good. I'm so glad about that.
Yeah, you were happy.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So we recorded, and then we went around the draft, and that video's not up yet. I can't wait to see it though, because we were asking. It's basically I just go around and ask people questions, and like we bumped into Phil Pritchard. And I was like, man, the Avalanche are really beating the shit out of the cup, huh? And stuff like that.
So
Trying to remember who else we talked to. You have to wait for the video to come up.
that video was shot right after we recorded. If you listen to Friday's podcast, that happened right after you had to run out. That's why we recorded so early. And then we have a little staff lunch and dinner. It was awesome.
That was
Everybody got out.
difficult.
Oh my god!
Because of
Because
the
that
outage.
whole day, the Rogers' outage happened.
So Drew and I tried to find you guys, and we went up to where we thought the restaurant is, and we didn't see you, and we're like, oh, we'll call them. Oh shit, we can't call them. So we're like trying to find a phone. We used the hotel landline.
If you don't know what he's talking about, there's a huge Rogers outage in Canada, and Rogers is one of our two carriers because we have two. That's a problem.
Yeah, our American listeners probably would know. I didn't realize that.
At least they have three.
Yeah, they got a couple more.
Yeah, they do.
So for a lot more people.
So you guys couldn't.
And then
even reach
afterward,
us.
Drew's like, "All right, you guys go hang out. I got to do something else. I'll see you later." Oh, Steve, can you order me? Because I was still on Wi-Fi. He's like, "Can you order me an Uber? Because I can't do it."
Do we want to share the story of the Uber driver we saw outside of the restaurant try and drive into pedestrian traffic?
Yeah.
You want to do it? Should
Well,
I?
I mean, we can all do this together, but I think you need to understand that Montreal
Beautiful.
is one of the most beautiful cities you'll ever go to. And Old Town Montreal, where we were eating, we overlooked the Circuit de Villeneuve and the river and the island, everything. It's amazing. But Montreal drivers are a different breed. And by different breed, I mean they don't care. They don't care and they don't follow rules. And so we were walking down a pedestrian-only street, and a guy driving on the pedestrian-only street in a Honda CR-V looks at us, and we get out of his way, and he
Because
waves.
we were looking at the sign
Yeah.
that said pedestrian only.
We're standing beside the sign,
And we're like, look at this fucking guy. There's a sign right here.
and he waves to us. He's like, "Thanks for getting out of the way." So then he drives further down the street, and of course the crowds are sort of parting out of the way skeptically, like
they don't want to get hit by a car.
yeah, but they're like, also, should you be here? Because he wasn't going fast.
No.
Just slow, just kind of making his way. And at the end of the street, you get back onto a street where you could drive, right? It's a cobblestone street and goes right back into pavement. And the security guards catch him right as he's about to make...
You couldn't drive on that street.
No,
that was the
remember-
issue.
Oh, you couldn't drive on that street either?
Remember, because we walked down there and it was all still pedestrian
So
stuff.
security stopped him, and they're like, "You have to go back."
Yeah.
And what we were thinking is, well, if that's a street you're actually allowed to drive on, it's actually far more dangerous to ask him to back through the pedestrian-only street.
That does make sense.
But
So he had to back this thing up a hill.
up a hill too. You're right.
And we ate at a pretty ritzy restaurant, and you could tell the restaurant was a part of a condo and hotel complex. So when you have condos and hotels, you know it's high end. You know, it's fancy, baby, because those people that own those condos, do you know they have access to the cleaning services and people come in every day and can make your bed if you pay for it?
Did not know that.
Only you would know that.
Pretty crazy. Pretty flippin' crazy.
How is it related to Napoleon?
Well, it all starts back in 18. No, I mean, anyway, long story short, he backs right into a really nice car.
Yeah. Well, and then tried to drive away, and the same security were like,
No.
still
We're
here.
all here watching you do this. We know you just hit a car.
Yeah.
All he had to do, guys, to avoid this pedestrian thing was take a right.
Do anything else.
Just take. There was a right that he could have taken. That was the road, and he just worst 15 minutes I think of his life.
Yeah, traffic was really bad, but
It's Montreal.
Then he hit a
Traffic's
car.
always bad.
So we do that. We have our dinner, and then we go back, and then we have the main event of the whole week. We have SDPN Fan Appreciation Night.
the picks? Nah.
The what?
The picks?
Oh,
Nah.
no. The
Fan
draft
appreciation.
wasn't. No. Everybody was in Montreal for our event. Screw the draft.
Absolutely.
So we go to La Cage in the Bell Center. We have our event in the bottom, and like, what a fantastic evening.
yeah,
All of the people
it
that
was.
came out, we went over our capacity for sure because people just kept showing up and being like, yeah, can I join? And we're just like, yes, come down. So it was a great time. I have some pictures here.
we had 3 players join us too. We had Juracek, who's with the Blue Jackets, Hamara, who's with the Senators, and who's the Habs guy?
Yan
Mashar?
Mysick, I think.
No, Mishak.
Yeah, it was Mishak. Jan Mishak.
Oh, it was Jan
Yeah.
Mishak.
Yeah.
Oh, so he had already been drafted. He wasn't drafted that weekend.
Yeah, no, he was that's the thing. He was with the Bulldogs in the Mem Cup final. He scored the OT winner in the semis.
Oh, I didn't realize
That's
that was
right.
Jan Mishak. Oh, well.
yeah.
What
There was
were
a lot
your-
going on.
What were your favorite parts of the evening, the fan appreciation event?
Oh man. I think I had to learn. I didn't realize how out of practice I was with socializing.
Meeting people again, man.
Yeah, it was cool. Like it was cool. First off, we had people up from. I think some people. One guy was up from Denver. Another guy was up from. They were up from Kentucky.
What
I
about
think.
little Luca?
Little Luca, the baby?
There was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one baby there.
Mhm.
The parents brought him on a front pack, and he was just jamming.
Yeah, he was a good kid. And there was just, I actually think one of the best moments was CJ, Julian, and Nick Andrade, their producer, meeting for the first time.
The 3 of them have never
that's
been in
right.
a room at the same time.
I don't think CJ and Nick had ever met. I don't
Nope.
think Julian and Nick had ever met. Obviously, Julian and Chris had known each other, but yeah, that was the first time that they'd ever been in the same room.
That
So
was
seeing them
great.
together was cool.
Even like so Adam did these big introductions for each SCBN member, and
Yeah,
that was
Walsh.
so much fun. And the reception that Alan Walsh got
Was awesome.
it was
Thunderous.
so good.
Yeah, it was thunder. And then Julian McKenzie fucking walks in late because he's a rock star. He's like, and he walks down the stairs and somebody notices him. They're like, "That's Julian!" And everybody turned around. They're like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
So it was great. It was really, really cool.
So just thank you everybody who came out for that.
There's a photo of. Is that on the screen right now?
Which one? You want me to put this one up?
Yeah, that one.
okay.
There's a photo of Jesse standing on the floor.
Proposing to Steve.
Yeah, and me standing on a platform and us looking at each other eye to eye.
Do you know what this moment is?
I don't actually.
This is the moment somebody handed me your book and was like, "Can you sign Steve's book?" And then also get Steve to sign it. And then
incredible.
we stood there for like 5 minutes trying to find the page that I mentioned in because I like signing that page of my first
You were
mention in your
such an
book.
uncle about it because you're like, oh, but I know what page I'm on. It's this one. Oh, nope. It's on this one. Oh, nope. It's the oldest you've ever been.
It's
easily.
It's 297 or 287.
And I might be too. I might be too.
287.
You thought it was 97.
And so I kept getting it wrong. I was very uncle about
And
it.
I might be 2 pages ahead of you, Jesse,
No.
because maybe 3 then, because the zoo stories are like the first 250 pages
you
of that
get,
book.
You get one in way in early.
Do I?
Yeah.
Listen,
Steve's known you since high
when
school.
we have our own ESPN book, you'll be glad that I didn't blow it all on my stupid little book.
But your book is like 310 long, and I don't get it until 280.
Yeah, you barely mentioned the podcast. And it's
And
crazy.
it's too long. You're right. I should have just cut you.
No. But it was awesome.
Dare you?
I also did a topic on Virgin Radio on the Wednesday before we went there. I'm like, I am staying in a hotel room with 2 men, but I'm in my 30s. How is this going to work? Because in your 20s, you do that because you can't afford it.
Worked perfectly.
Listen, I can afford perfectly fine. I can afford a hotel room. And to be honest with you, it worked out really good. Jesse and Steve are very clean roommates. Mm-hmm. The only like hung up towels, put food away, wiped like everything. I have to say, I was really impressed. You guys are easy to travel with.
We don't have one complaint.
Jesse,
should I have a complaint?
You and me should have a complaint about our third.
Should we have a complaint?
You say what you say. What
I don't know. Can I say it on the show?
I won't say it. Steve's gonna get mad.
Okay. Every time I enter the bathroom, every single time, it's like literally go in, door creak, close, and then it clicks.
Don't blame
and
me.
I was like, oh, let's go! You done it there? What?
And this
Holy shit!
This is because you two go back to a time when Adam said he would like pick you up, and you'd be shitting.
No, the pickup time. The pickup time. Here's the pickup time.
Man.
The pickup time would be this. The pickup time would be this. It'd be 10 a.m. We'd all pull up in our friend Derek's Ford Windstar, green with a tan interior. I'll never forget it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you remember that thing?
Yeah,
and there'd be
yeah,
like
yeah.
6 of us in there, and we'd be waiting on Steve. And Steve would come out to the car, bring his bag, and be like, "Guys, I gotta go to the bathroom," and then it would be 20 minutes. So the to-go time would be 10, but real go time is 10, 20.
But also, you know what? You guys never appreciated what a good friend I am. Because, okay, there was one time, I can't remember if you were in this car ride, all right? Derek came from Guelph in a snowstorm to pick me up, right?
Because he would do that.
Right, but they blew a tire on the way there. First of all, I waited up until about 2:30 in the morning. No one contacted me and told me there was an accident or a problem. They did not have room for so they had the donut on.
Yeah.
They did not have room for the tire that they took off in the trunk. So they're like, so we don't know what to do about this tire. And so I volunteered myself sitting in the middle of the back seat to have it on my lap the entire way to Guelph. Because I'm like, well, I know how long it takes to go to Guelph. It shouldn't be too bad. Forgetting that we were driving on a donut and could only go a max of 70 kilometers an hour. Highway's 100. People losing their fucking minds behind us.
You should have gone on the highway with a donut.
And we didn't even get onto the highway. And I got this a 1,000,000-pound tire on my lap. And I'm like, this is a fucking mistake. But no, I take too long in the bathroom sometimes.
So
Like, I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta go, like, right before we head out. And you're like, oh, here we go.
every time
Steve and his abnormal habit of taking a piss before he leaves the house.
for the 3 days
you,
we were
Adam
there.
Wild.
For the 3 days we were there, Adam yelled at Steve for his leisure poops.
And you know what he did there? Friggin' King Midas over here? Because this guy had his own bathroom.
Yes, he did.
Jesse
had his own bathroom.
Okay.
Had his own bathroom.
Who picked the
Isn't that
rooms?
quite peculiar?
Who picked the rooms?
Well, hold on. I walked in. I'm like, oh, it's a 1-bathroom apartment. So I took the room with the best view. But Jesse got there second, and he took the room with a similar view, but it had a bathroom, and I didn't know there was a bathroom.
I picked the room you didn't pick.
I know.
I also didn't know it had a bathroom. You picked the room without a bathroom.
Adam fucked up.
You fucked up.
I did. I didn't know it had a bathroom until like halfway through the second day. I was like, what? There's a bathroom?
I
there?
realized
he
it
conveniently
after.
left that out.
I realized it after you gave me
Because there was
the
like
room.
a sliding door, right?
Yeah,
It was a
really
locked
door.
door.
As soon
I
as
had a
you
walk-in
left-
closet in the bathroom. It was awesome.
I bombed that thing the second you left.
you fucking used it too. Nobody said you couldn't use it. It was awesome.
So anyway,
We had a good time. But other than that, honestly, like good roommates. I gotta say, really good roommates.
Except for leisure poops over here.
also, okay.
Yeah, he definitely TikTok and poop.
You know,
when are you gonna hear the sounds coming from the bathroom?
Go.
And
That's
then
all I heard.
5 seconds later, another sound. 5 seconds later, another sound. And you're like, oh, it's been 30 minutes and we haven't seen Steve.
the dude who cuts the oranges and squeezes the juice out of them.
Yeah, what's up with that guy?
I don't know, but I really enjoy those videos.
What about the guy that was going viral this weekend for chopping wood? And he says good girl, and then everybody who reacts to it's like,
Yeah,
you see, that one's super viral.
pretty weird.
It is super weird.
It's
the thirsty talk is thirsty.
There's lots of corners of TikTok, and all of them are bad.
Anyways, fan appreciation.
Yeah.
Fan appreciate. Oh yeah, so that was very fun. I'm sure they appreciated that fucking story, guys. Yeah, just said hello to everyone, got to hear their story, everyone out of town. It's just fucking great. I love the draft.
Yeah.
If you have an opportunity to, and like, it was the one discouraging thing was CJ on his show talking about the NHL, like, would consider going to digital, like all digital on purpose for the draft. Are you out of your mind?
So
It's a hybrid, really.
here's what I could see. If you do it like the NBA does it, which is the teams aren't there, all the players are backstage. They make them look like rock stars for the first round.
Yes.
And they bring them out, and then David Stern gives them a jersey, and then that's it. And they take their picture, and they're off stage, and it's over in a couple of hours. I can totally see that. I could totally see that. But if you're talking all digital, it's like, well, we're going to have a Zoom call. It would be very NHL and very stupid to do. I think you got to give the kids, like the players, an experience. And I think the fans want something to cheer for. That Montreal crowd, here's the thing, man. When we saw in the lower bowl was a bunch of empty seats on TV, right? What actually happens is that all those lower bowl seats are for
Families.
families.
Yeah.
And a lot of them get up and move and do all this stuff while it's happening. The fans in the building, we sent our sales guy, Rob, we sent Andrew, Jamie was there, Robert was there, Steve, you were there. You could not hear what Gary Bettman was saying on the microphone in the arena because the Montreal fans, as they always are, were so loud.
And it
to
was
boo.
even worse because he would say the French part first and then follow up in English.
Okay.
So everybody who spoke French knew what was coming. And then if you wanted to hear the English part, the French fans were already cheering and you couldn't hear. So Jamie and Robert, like, they were like, we couldn't hear anything.
We don't know
'Cause
what happened.
At first it happened in French and then they were screaming.
We talked on Friday about how Gary Bettman should never attempt French ever again, right?
Yeah. We did.
Parlay though, like fucking try, Gary. Jesus,
It was Xavier Gutierrez who was the bonjour.
no, Gary was
Bonjour,
worse.
Montreal.
Gary was so much
But
worse.
I could totally see the hybrid thing where all the teams get to be at home in their war rooms, but then you still have the event for the fans. You can't take that away.
no, well, and also day two took.
And I
less
think you
than
send the
4
GMs.
hours.
You send the GMs because the GMs need it, but you don't need the whole scouting team. Like you've seen them walk up there, and we talked about this in the last episode with like 12 people. You don't need that.
No,
Sorry, you
you
were
don't,
gonna
and
say?
then
And the
shake
Wild
every
forgot.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then you shake every single person. Like they all need
and
to
then they
shake
take
Gary's
a picture,
hand.
and then it's oh,
That was too much. We did this,
Do
but
the
it was
NBA
too
thing.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the final night, everyone basically went to the same bar.
yeah.
All the hockey writers.
Ziggy's.
Yeah.
And what was funny is Adam's bachelor party was a mess in 2018. Or no, December 2017.
There you go.
How long ago
it was?
We were joking about would we even be able to identify any of the bars we went to if we walked in.
Yep.
And then we walk into Ziggy's. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's neat to be here for the first time. And then, we go through the crowd of people and, oh, yeah, it's nice to be here for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the table, we end up like sort of all standing around. I'm like, oh my God, this is the exact table where me and our friend ruined each other's arm wrestling. literally so I beat him in arm wrestling, but we were so evenly matched that they lasted forever, and he kept challenging me to rematches. I went to the gym after we returned, and I couldn't do shit.
Right.
My arm was fucked. And so I call him to ask how he was doing, and he's like, hey man, what's up? I'm just in the walk-in clinic. And he was getting his arm looked at, and he couldn't play baseball that summer. Because we ruined each other's bodies because we're stupid.
And my bachelor party was in December.
And someone bought, I didn't get a chance to tell you guys this. Someone bought me a shot at the bar and was like, hey man, yeah, watch your stuff. And it was I believe the bassist for the band Tea Party.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, dude. And like, this is going to make you cringe. I'm such a fucking idiot. Instead of complimenting Tea Party's like, discography of work, I was like, oh my God, you're a legend. You guys were on Big Shiny Tunes too.
No.
Big Shiny Tunes too, for those of you who don't know,
Used to be the ultimate collection of music in
Yeah.
Canada.
it was one of those basically like an MTV compilation, right? But up here we have Much Music, and they had an annual compilation called Big Shiny Tunes, and everyone our age owned Big Shiny Tunes too, and they were on. And I think I might have even imitated the guitar riff.
Oh my
'cause I was
God.
drunk.
It's the song Heaven's Coming Down.
Yeah, but then we talked about.
I remember the track listing for that.
No,
not good.
no, it wasn't
That's a
good.
very drunk moment.
It was bad. No, but he humored me for quite some time.
Oh, my goodness.
It was great.
And then Saturday. So if you follow us on social media at SDPN Sports, you'll know this, but I don't think we hadn't talked about it on the show leading up to it, but we sponsored a golf tournament on Saturday. That's
right.
And I flew back early, so none of the staff was available because it fell on draft weekend. So
And we wanted everybody on staff there.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of spots for like all the staff, and nobody could attend. So, but I flew back early just because we needed somebody there at least. And so SDPN sponsored the Get Real Love Wins Golf Tournament. And Get Real is an organization in Toronto. They support LGBTQ2S plus initiatives in Toronto. And so we sponsored the driving range, actually. So we had a little thing, and the driving range was brought to you by SDPN.
That's
and,
cool. There's
yeah.
logos up everywhere?
Yeah, the little sign there on the grass. And it was at Lionhead Golf Club in Brampton. It was very swanky. It was nice. And that's something we're hoping to do every single year. So that's our first year doing it. I didn't really know what to expect, but now I kind of know.
How did you golf?
We had a threesome.
Uh-huh.
We played best ball.
Wow,
So,
that'll get you ready for golf.
boo.
That's a dad joke.
Steve.
That's a dad
All
joke.
right,
That's a dadder.
Daddy Steve coming in hot. So we had a threesome beforehand. We had a threesome for our group, and we played best ball, and we actually played fairly well. But then one of our group members had to leave early, so they left around hole 6 into our 9 holes, and we played decent. Like, I was very happy with our performance. And then they had a huge dinner. It was sponsored by Fresh, if anybody knows the vegan place in Toronto. There was a huge dinner there, and the whole event was brought to you by Summersby, and there's a whole bunch of other sponsors. But now I know kind of how it works and everything. This is something we're hoping to do every summer, is sponsor this tournament. So look ahead to that forever. This was a part of our Pride initiatives. We said we'd get involved with sponsoring something within the community. It happened a little after June, but still, we got to make a big contribution.
Well, Pride goes beyond 1 month.
Right, it happens all year.
Slam.
Pull your rainbows down.
July 1st. That's enough.
As a company, we're very proud that we can do something like this and throw monetary money at these events and at these causes, because that's how we know we can help in these ways. So yeah, it's something we're gonna hope to do every year, and hope maybe one day we'll host our own golf tournament. But the way right now is to hop onto these ones and raise some money for great causes. So yeah, that happened Saturday. All the pictures from that will be coming out throughout the week, along with pictures from the SDPN Fan Appreciation Night. I actually left the memory card here in the studio, so I didn't have access to them, but they'll come out throughout the week on our social media. So follow us on Twitter and Instagram. See all of the pictures and stuff from that happened over the last 4 days. It's been a wild 4 days for us.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up there. We're going to see you Thursday after free agency. So after the frenzy happens and they hand out $200 million or whatever it's going to be.
Stream on the Sportsnet YouTube channel for free agency, starting a little before noon. Myself and Grav. Click like and subscribe.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's Sportsbook.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.